Welcome in to Red Hawk Radio. I'm Luke Lewis here on the pregame show. Both teams take the ice for warm-ups. We got about 28 minutes till puck drop as Miami hosts Denver for the second game in a row. Last night did not go the Red Hawks' way, losing to Denver 5-1. Let's walk through the goals by this Pioneers team. Started off by the hands of the freshman Jake Fisher, his sixth of the year. 2024 Colorado Avalanche draft pick. Capitalized on a turnover in front of the net by Ethan Dahlmeyer. Just a great patient play, outweighted him, and put the Pioneers on the board for the 1-0 lead. It didn't stop there for the boys in red. Fellow freshman James Reeder put the Pioneers up 2-0 with his 8th of the year. It's a backdoor power play goal from Samu Salminen. It was Denver's 33rd power play goal of the year, which leads the conference. Then, in the second period, Garrett Brown, the defenseman, picks up his first career goal, resulting in a turnover on the Miami blue line. We saw that often last night. Not getting pucks in deep for Miami really costed them. Odd man breaks for the Pioneers resulted in a few goals. And then it was Denver back on the power play once again. And we talked about him so much on the pregame yesterday. Jack Devine with his 9th of the year and 43rd point on the season, which just was the 34th goal, for Denver on the power play, extending their lead in the NCHC. Beautiful cross-team pass from Aiden Thompson. And Devine just snuck it through the wickets of Ethan Dahlmeyer to put the Pioneers up 4-0. And the end of the period, resulting in some hard Miami forechecking, the RedHawks went to the power play and started the second period on the power play. It was probably their best power play of the night. Before then, couldn't get much going. I mentioned it a lot during the first intermission. We saw more shots on goal by Denver on Miami's power play than Miami, so something they definitely had to clean up. But they definitely came out firing in the third period with a Colby Ambrosio goal, his 6th of the year, resulting in a rebound from the shot of Johnny Waldron. We talked about him a lot on the pregame yesterday as well. That top line of Miami is going to have to get on the board if the RedHawks would have a chance against this Pioneers team. But it was a little too late. Just 18 seconds after that one, Carter King, the captain for the Pioneers, with his 15th of the year, off a pretty costly turnover from Frankie Cargiola. And it was 5-1, and that's all she wrote here at Steve Coach Cady Arena. Denver takes it 5-1 last night. Matt Davis, the goalie for the Pioneers, picked up his 21st win of the season, tied for the lead in the NCAA with Jacob Fowler of Boston College. We won't see him tonight. Freddie Halleck gets the nod, and Matt Davis gets the rest. But talking a little bit more about Davis, 21-6-1 now with a 2.09 goals against average and a .920 save percentage. Just been absolutely stellar for the Pioneers. Stopped 18 of 19 Miami shots. On the Miami side of things, Ethan Dahlmeyer back in goal tonight. He's going to look to have a better performance than last night. Didn't have a ton of help, but obviously that first goal resulting in a turnover from him, he's gonna look to have a better game tonight. More takeaways from last night, though. Miami with the turnovers was awfully costly, especially at the blue line. We saw that Garrett Brown goal, not getting pucks in deep, and the boys in white tonight are going to want to stay out of the box. We saw last night Denver's power play, best in the NCHC, and they didn't even have Zeev Buyum. We'll get to him in a minute. But 2 power play goals for Denver, making them pay. So Miami's going to have to stay out of the box. And Denver's speed through the neutral zone was really on display last night, especially that top line. Crisp passes, just really showing their dominant force, entering the zone, getting pucks deep. Their D making good cross-ice passes. Their speed was on full display last night. And Matt Davis, we mentioned him just before, absolutely stellar last night. Talking more about the reigning national champions, Denver. Their top line, I talked about it so much on the pregame yesterday. Jack Devine, Aiden Thompson and Carter King, I mean, they really showed why they're the top line of the reigning national champions. Just puck possession at its finest. We saw Jack Devine just keeping it out on the perimeter, being patient, setting up plays. Aiden Thompson, just a wizard with the puck on his edges. Miami really couldn't knock either of those guys off the puck. They were protecting the puck so well. And then, you know, they would capitalize every time Miami would leave a seam open. And Carter King using his big physical body, opening lanes for them. That's something we're going to look out for again tonight. And I just talked about it a little bit before, but Zeev Buium back in the lineup tonight, entering with 33 points in 28 games. The Minnesota Wild draft pick, number 12 overall just a year ago. I mean, what can you say about this special player? Just an 05 birth year. But man, he is a special player and a difference maker for this Pioneers team. Williams pretty much a one-man breakout, unreal on his edges, can see the ice incredibly well. I mean, he had 6 points in 7 games in the World Junior Championship. It was back-to-back championships for Zeev Buium in the World Juniors, not to mention the national championship for Denver last year. Wherever number 28 goes, they win. But as I mentioned before, just had a great World Junior Championship tournament. He had the game-winning assist on the Cady Stiga goal to win the World Junior Champion for Team USA. I mean, if anyone watched that out there, just that really shows who Zeev Buium is. Saucer pass over the middle of the ice, leading Cady Stiga tape to tape. Just incredible vision. And as I mentioned before, Denver's power play, best in the NCHC, 2 goals last night. It's just going to get more deadly tonight with Zeev Buium quarterback in the power play. It's going to be a scary sight for Miami players, so they're going to have to stay out of the box. Now, staying on the Denver side of things, they're currently 5th in the NCHC with 33 points. That's just 1 point behind North Dakota. Every single game for this Pioneers team matters because the top 4 seeds in the NCHC get home ice come playoff time in just a few weeks. So they're not going to let off the gas easy tonight. After tonight, they will host St. Cloud State at home next week, and then finally finishing off against Colorado College on the road as this year's regular season of college hockey is coming to a close. On the Miami side of things, we wanted to get the ship right yesterday. However, it was a little too late, and their losing streak extends to 21 games. Still winless at 0-19 in the conference, so trying to get their first regulation win of the season. Important game tonight for the RedHawks, trying to build some momentum to maybe surprise some of these teams come playoff time. They travel to Minnesota Duluth next week for a 2-game series there. And finally, right back here to Steve Cady Arena to play the mighty Western Michigan Broncos, who are the 3rd-ranked team in the country. Talked about it a lot yesterday. This schedule just not getting any easier for the RedHawks. Such a difficult conference. These teams are going to bring it every single night, especially with the playoff implications seeding-wise. So Miami's really going to be tested the last few weeks of the season. But speaking of the game last night, I was impressed with Raymond Vitalins. He had a very solid game, showed his edge work, showed his protection of the puck, got a few good shots on net. Maybe one could break through for him tonight, but pretty good game for number 6. And then top players for Miami as well, as we talked on the pregame. Colby Ambrosio picked up his goal, which was just a result of being in front of the net, right place, right time, finding the quiet area and sneaking one home. Johnny Waldron definitely made some good plays on that power play, but you know, we saw his turnover was the one that resulted in the Garrett Brown goal. So he's gonna want to clean that up. You hate to see turnovers at the blue line. He's such a dynamic player, so smooth, so silky, but you can't even give an inch to this Pioneers team. Just gotta take your losses, get the puck in deep. But I have no doubt he will make an impact tonight. And then Matt Chupani as well. We saw the transfer from Northeastern make a little bit of an impact as well. We saw Johnny Waldron and Chupani get maybe the two best scoring chances of the night, stonewalled by Matt Davis, but Chupani gets in hard on the forecheck, lays the body. That's got to be Miami's game tonight. If they want to win, they got to play physical, outwork and outmuscle this Pioneers team. Well, teams are off for warm-ups as of now. A few laps left on the Zambonis as fans start to trickle in. We got about 18 minutes until puck drop. I'm going to step out, take a quick break, but we will be back here on the Red Hawk pregame. Welcome back to the pregame show here on Red Hawk Radio. Got about 15 minutes until puck drop. Zams just got off the ice. Atmosphere starting to pile on here at Goggin Ice Center. Should be an exciting one tonight. Hopefully Miami can right the ship. Speaking of Miami athletics, we did have a thrilling basketball victory last night, winning 96-92 in overtime versus Kent State, improving to 20-7 on the year. Star guard Peter Suter with 22 points to lead the RedHawks, and they now sit second in the MAC just behind Akron. The RedHawks' next game is at home February 25th versus Northern Illinois, with the MAC basketball tourney just a few short weeks away, starting on March 13th. Just an exciting atmosphere in Millette Arena last night. Comeback win for the RedHawks. Big win after losing two straight to Eastern Michigan and Western Michigan. Way to right the ship, Miami basketball. Back to hockey. An exciting night in the NCHC with big wins from Arizona State, Colorado College, and North Dakota as fans cheer. Luke Puckett, the 7-year-old, Skates with Matt Chupani to tuck the puck home in the net. And I love this part because the crowd goes crazy for the youngster. Way to go, kiddo. You know, we talked about it so much yesterday on the pregame, just the next generation of hockey. It's hard not to look up at the current situation of NHL players and USA Hockey and World Juniors and not get excited. You could just feel the US of A and their excitement for the sport we all love. Back to the NCHC hockey. North Dakota hosted Minnesota Duluth last night and won 4-2. Obviously, Denver beat Miami. Arizona State with a huge win over the third-ranked Western Michigan Broncos. And Colorado College traveling to St. Cloud State, defeating those guys 4-3 as I check my notes. In the Big Ten, it's been a surprisingly really good hockey conference this year. Penn State with a shocking shootout win in East Lansing against the #1 ranked Michigan State Spartans. That Penn State team is a gritty team. We saw them in that stadium series at Wrigley this year. Exciting stuff coming out of the Big Ten. Jimmy Snuggerud's Minnesota Gophers won 4-1 against the Ohio State Buckeyes. That was a great matchup. A few top-ranked teams right there. And then the Badgers of Wisconsin hosted the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and won with a score of 7-3. Some more shocking scores in the Hockey East. Northeastern defeated Boston in Boston 5-1. Not great for the Terriers. I'm sure they're going to right the ship tonight. But every game, just like the NCHC, is a battle in a conference like the Hockey East. Fellow Boston team, Boston College Eagles, who they defeated in the Beanpot Championship, traveled to Vermont. No problem over there, winning 6-3. Let's just talk a little bit about that Boston College team. Man, are they on a mission this year. Losing in the national championship just a year ago to the Denver Pioneers, who we are seeing here tonight. Just loaded with talent that is going to soon go to the NHL. Last year, obviously, that top line of Gabe Perreault, Ryan Leonard, and Will Smith. Will Smith leaving to go to the NHL to play for the Sharks with Macklin Celebrini. But Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard decided to return, and they were met with, hopefully, the #1 overall pick this coming summer in James Higgins as another line mate. Talk about back-to-back years, probably the best line in college hockey. They are a fun team to watch. Many of those top guys, Ryan Leonard's, James Higgins getting on the score sheet last night. Definitely a team to keep your eye on, as well as that aforementioned Michigan State team come April when we approach the Frozen Four. But this NCHC conference, those teams will be battling for those spots as well, and especially the reigning national champions 2 times in the last 3 years, Denver Pioneer Broncos. Then UConn hosted Maine, took that game in overtime. Big win against Maine, top 5 team in the country this year. And then UMass Minutemen traveled to New Hampshire, took them to overtime on away ice. However, New Hampshire wins in shootout. So 2 shootout wins last night in an exciting night of college hockey. We saw Harvard fall to Union. Quinnipiac, they've had a lot of success over the last few years, taking it 4-1 over Yale. Now all those teams have the same matchups tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some splits on the board, especially Boston, who now plays Northeastern on the road. I'm sure they're going to come back with absolute vengeance. That being said, same with Western Michigan, the 5th-ranked team in the country now. St. Cloud State at home, going to defend their home ice. And we saw that Minnesota Duluth team here at Steve Cady Arena just a few short weeks ago with Captain Dominic James leading the way. They are a sneaky good team as well. In the NHL, obviously we talked a lot about it yesterday. The 4 Nations happened, and that was an exciting weekend. But we are back to reality here after that fairy tale. And I think Connor McDavid was still in the fairy tale, as the Oilers lost 6-3 to the Flyers. No points for McDavid. I got to imagine it's tough for these guys to be in that intense of a tournament, that intense of an atmosphere, and just 2 days later, just try to get back to reality. Even have teammates on your NHL teams that you were just enemies with. It's got to be a tough transition. The Minnesota Wild took down the Red Wings, who were red hot before the Four Nations in overtime. And crazy matchup between longtime rivals, the Washington Capitals and Pittsburgh Penguins. The Capitals took this one 8-3, leading off where they left off. I mean, the best team in the NHL so far this season, and it's been an absolute surprise. No one really expected that. And obviously Ovechkin, 16 goals away from breaking the great one, Wayne Gretzky's record. Surprisingly, 8 goals tonight, none for Ovechkin. I'm sure he'll be on the score sheet soon enough. And then a few other games kick off tonight as well, including the Sabres and the Rangers, who just kicked off a few minutes ago. All right, well, it is 5:57 here. We got about 8 minutes till puck drop. We're going to step out one last time, and when we get back, we'll look at some keys for the game tonight and the lines. Be back here on Red Hawk Radio. Well, folks, we got about 6 minutes till puck drop as both teams take the ice, getting ready for the anthem. Let's just look at a few keys for the game tonight for the RedHawks, trying to get their first conference win of the year. Definitely got to limit the turnovers, especially at the blue line, and get pucks in deep. Also need to limit the mental mistakes. We saw a too many men penalty for the RedHawks, and we saw a too many men penalty that was missed. Anthony Noreen's going to want to straighten that out for his bench. And that being said, stay out of the box and keep Denver off the power play, especially with the previous mentioned Zeev Buium. Going to be an absolute threat quarterback in that umbrella and that power play. Got to stay out of the box if you want any chance against these Pioneers team. That being said, as they announce the lines on the ice, the starters, let's take a look at the full lines tonight between the RedHawks and the Pioneers. On the visiting side of things, top line, same as last night, Carter King, Aiden Thompson, and Jack Devine. Second line, Samu Salmonen, Sam Harris, and James Reeder. We saw Salmonen have a nice pass to Reeder on the power play. Going to keep that connection going. Third line of Kieran Cabrian, Jared Wright, and Riga Lorenz, with the fourth line of Connor Capone, Jake Fisher, and Hagen Burrows, who all made a big impact last night to finish it off. Just a deep Denver team. On defense, Eric Polkamp, Kent Anderson, Boston Buckberger, Garrett Brown, who scored his first career college hockey goal last night, Cale Ashcroft, Torrey Pinter, and the aforementioned Zeev Buium back in the lineup tonight, with Freddie Halleck getting the start tonight. Halleck comes in to this game 1-2 on the season with a 2.24 goals against average and a .911 save percentage with 0 shutouts. He's going to look to pick up his second win of the year. Now, your Miami RedHawks starting lineup. A few changes tonight. Johnny Waldron centering the first line with Colby Ambrosio on the right and Teeter Forsander on the left. Second line of Christoph Filion, Braden Morrison, and Matt Chupani. Third line, left winger, Boston Bruins draft pick Casper Nason, with John Emmons centering, and Raymond Vitalis, who we talked about a lot on the pregame, on the right wing. Fourth line, Blake Messenberg, Ryan Sullivan, and Max Dukovac getting back in the lineup tonight. Looks to make an impact after having an early season injury. Got to be excited to play in this one. On D, Connor Hutchinson, going to use that big body on the left defense, and Michael Quinn, Spencer Cox, and Dylan Moulton, second D pair, and Rehards Simonovics and Hampus Ryquist as your last defense, with Zane Dempsey getting in the lineup for Michael Feenstra tonight. And same as last night, Ethan Dahlmeyer in net for the RedHawks. Going to look to put on a better performance than last night. Miami and Denver coming to you in just a few minutes. Miami looking for their first conference win of the year and to try to break the 21-game losing streak. Luke West-Poley and Jeff Middleton will be on the call tonight. I'll see you back here on the first Inter-Michigan Report. Denver, Miami next on Red Hawk Radio.
From Steve Cady Arena in Oxford, Ohio, it is Game 2 of the series this weekend as we get you wrapped up here on Red Hawk Radio with number 6 Denver and Miami on night 2 from Oxford. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West-Poley with you. A dominant win for the Pioneers yesterday, who take down Miami 5-1, and the Pios will look for the sweep now here tonight for a Denver team that has struggled a little bit in NCHC play. They have not picked up a sweep since sweeping these RedHawks back on January 10th and 11th. They will look to take 2 of 2 on the weekend. Miami looking for that first win in NCHC play. Denver goes with the same uniform combo as yesterday. The all reds with the gold Denver text on the front and gold numbers on the front and back. And for Miami, they go with a different jersey, white helmets, red gloves, and red pants. White jerseys and white socks today. It is the alternate white jerseys with the gray pinstripes and the red script Miami on the front. Trevor Wolford, Andy Thackerberry are the referees. Eric Frank, Brian Gorkoff, the linesman here this evening. RedHawks move right to left. Denver left to right in the opening period. Couple lineup changes for each of these two teams that we will get to in a moment. For now, Brian Gorkoff drops the puck. Face-off is won by Miami's Braden Morrison, and off we go from Oxford here on night 2. RedHawks turn it over immediately, and that's Devine in alone, and he chips one off the left shoulder of Ethan Dahlmeyer, who's getting the start once again for the RedHawks here tonight. So already tasked with making a big save against Jack Devine, who scored a goal in the game yesterday as part of that very productive top line for Denver. Top of the zone, Christoph Filion skates it out for Miami, finds Matt Chipani, and he'll chip it in across the red line and head off for a change 30 seconds in. Long feed up ahead on the near wall, cut off by Connor Hutchison for the RedHawks. He will tap it for Johnny Waldron, who will provide the dump. Freddie Halleck out of his net, getting the start tonight for Denver, and he comes out of his net to give it up the far side, but the pass did not connect. Try and get it up the ice for the Pioneers, and they ice it 49 seconds into the game. Change in goal for Denver tonight after Matt Davis got the win yesterday. Freddie Halleck makes his 7th appearance of the season. 1-2 record, 2.24 goals against average, and a .911 save percentage this year for the sophomore out of Cochrane, Alberta. For Miami, Ethan Dahlmeyer was a little bit shaky last night. He made the mistake that resulted in the opening goal, but Anthony Noreen will go with his freshman once again. Out of Lakeville, Minnesota, 1-9-1 record on the year, 404 goals against average, and an .870 save percentage. Miami won the offensive zone face-off. Sent a shot in that got blocked. Now Denver will skate it up and into the offensive zone, and got tapped at the blue line, and Sebrin could not hold the zone, so that'll be offside on the Pioneers. 1:06 into the opening period. Lineup changes for the RedHawks. Max Dukovac in, Zane Dempsey in for Miami. 1 forward and 1 defenseman slotted into the lineup. They will take the places of Frankie Carr, Joello, and Michael Feenstra, who are not in the lineup tonight. Just one lineup change, and it's the one we thought we would see for the Denver Pioneers, as Zeev Buium served a suspension yesterday for the extracurriculars in the Saturday game of the North Dakota series. He is back in the lineup here tonight for Denver. That's the only lineup change after the 5-1 win yesterday. Again, the Pioneers are handling the puck on the blue line and just end up on the wrong side of it and will jump offside. We get another whistle with 18:41 to go in the first. Not that it necessarily means much, but Buium is listed on the line chart as the extra skater, which is where he slotted in. Yeah, so
like you said, doesn't really mean as much.
Doesn't really mean much, but
no, it's easily the biggest lineup change of the night. Zeev Buium, last year as a freshman, you mentioned it yesterday, Luke, but a lot of people didn't think he'd come back to college hockey this year, and he's proven again why he was picked in the first round by Minnesota. 33 points in 28 games played from the blue line.
Huge
83
hit.
Career points. Wow, yeah, that's a big hit
in front
as
of
well.
the bench, Hampus Ryquist lost his lid as he dumped it in. Pioneers will now work it up the near side, and it's tipped into the Miami end by Halmanen. RedHawks wrap it around the near wing. Polkamp holds the zone, throws it out in front. Dahlmeyer sticks it aside, and it ends up in the protective netting. 18:08 to go first period, no score, and an increasingly full Cady Arena. About 70% full, I would say, here on Saturday night. Yeah. Interesting to see Max Dukovac in the lineup as well for Miami. He's a guy that dealt with some health issues, and when healthy has been a shoo-in to be in the lineup for this Miami team. So interesting to see that he was a healthy scratch last night, but is playing and out there on the ice as Denver wins the face-off on the near side of the ice, gets a shot in off the wing that Dahlmeyer sticks aside. RedHawks with it, and it's Dukovac down the left wing. He'll enter the zone. Steps by Ashcroft, loses possession of the puck though, and it slides below the goal line of the Denver zone where a 2-on-2 puck battle ensues. Miami wins it. Sharp angle shot from Blake Messenberg. Flies way high, ricochets off the corner glass, and ends up back in the RedHawk zone. Messenberg catches the pass on the near side red line, walks into the Denver end, chips it for Dukovac in the corner, throwing one out in front, kicked on net by a Pioneer that was backing up. That, I believe, was Polkamp that kicked that onto his own net there. Luckily, Freddie Halleck made the save, and then some pushing and shoving after the whistle there, but nothing will come of it. And so, face off on the near side of the ice. That was Buium, actually. I think that might have kicked that on for the Pioneers.
We saw yesterday early Miami with some good chances. They had a power play early yesterday as well, but not able to put it in the back of the net. Really need to convert here early and try and get something going.
Face-off controlled by Miami. Puck glued along the near wall. Christoph Filion got tangled up with Torrey Pinter, but still pokes it in deep with the offensive zone. Denver will take it there, though, and it is fluttered down the ice by Buium, and it will go down for icing. 17-17 to go in the first period. Shots in favor of Denver, 3-1. No score in a game that has lacked any sort of flow so far.
Yeah. We also mentioned yesterday how this Denver team, they're extremely skilled, obviously very deep. Tons of drafted players, 9 drafted forwards out of the 12 total. But nonetheless, these guys can create anything out of any circumstance. Multiple odd man rushes yesterday. Felt like they just came out of nowhere, and especially with a guy like Zeev Buium here with the puck, can create anything. And Miami really needs to take advantage of the chances they get.
Denver wins the face-off, and it is Buium pushing it into the offensive zone before heading off for a change. Denver controls. Devine chipping it back down low. It is thrown out in front. A whack at it for King, but that got blocked at the net front And the RedHawks will clear as far as center. Beg your pardon, Bouillon went towards the bench but did not go off as he remains on the ice. And now he will head to the bench as Denver dumps it back into the Miami end. Puck pops up in the air and ends up settled down at the right point by Wright. He throws it into the corner, now back up top. Anderson will chip it in deep. And behind the goal line, Hutchison gets it stolen away by Jared Wright, who will wrap it back around the near wing. Hutchison to it first along the boards, but he cannot clear it by Seabrian. Puck ends up sliding into the middle of the slot, where it's chopped in the direction of the net, but end up tipped wide from Wright. Seabrian back in, will drop it off for Denver, and now a sharp move towards the net front as a pass was thrown across, looking for Rieger Lorenz, and that got blocked. Then a shot from the right point got blocked in the slot by Forsander. Waldron now skates it in and feathers it off the end wall for Miami in the offensive zone. Puck rolling along the kickboard on the far side, just escapes the zone for the RedHawks, who will have to regroup. Simonovic skating down the left wing, steps by Polkamp, who pokes the puck further into the zone. It's twisted in front by Forsander, went between Waldron's legs. Now Ryquist drags and shoots. It gets blocked as he got stood up there by Reeder, but Ryquist holds his man off and prevents the breakaway, and the RedHawks keep possession as far as Johnny Waldron getting it past the center red before he's bumped off the puck. Miami back with it. Ryquist slides it up the far side of the ice where Sullivan will tip it in with the heel of his stick. Halleck out of his net to play it forward as the Pioneers break it out quickly. Fisher into the offensive zone, slips it to the near wing, and a big hit late on James Reeder, who was a little off balance when Dukovac laid the shoulder into him. Puck out at center where the Pioneers recover. Down the left side, Polkamp throws a cross-corner dump to the near wing of the offensive zone. Spencer Cox will tap it by the pursuit of Jared Wright. Up the near wall, Miami will clear it to center where Buckberger settles back on it for the Pioneers. And that puck will be tipped into the offensive zone. Got close to the Miami bench on the far side, but didn't hit anybody. Now Dylan Moulton throws a blind pass up the near side. Nobody's there to get it for the RedHawks, and that allowed Denver to get to it for a moment, but Hagen Burrows lost possession, and Miami will clear down. Bouillon behind the net. Throws it from below the goal line all the way up to center ice. But a pass batted out of the air off the stick of Aiden Thompson by Christoph Filion. Puck ends up in Miami's defensive zone, though, and now it is Thompson back on it, shoveling it up the far wall. Bouillon tries to spin away and does so successfully from Morrison. A nice move to get to the slot, but lost control of the puck at the last moment. Devine there to recover, throws it out in front. It's stuck underneath of Christoph Filion for a moment, and Dahlmeyer will pounce on it there and cover with 14:05 to go in the first period. Still no score between Miami and Denver.
The RedHawks just look a step behind right now. There's a lot of miscommunications on certain passes, guys going to different places where their teammates thought they'd be. That play from Dylan Moulton and Spencer Cox. Moulton thought Cox was going to go below the goal line, and instead he went in front of the net. And instead Moulton throws the blind pass, and it ends up right on the stick of a Pioneer. So really need to get these guys on the same page. Otherwise, they're going to have a hard time defending this Denver team.
Face-off won by the Pioneers to the far point. A shot sent through that gets smothered as Pittner on the far side had it. And a slide by Nasson to break that up. And he is a little shaken up as he goes off to the bench. Denver gets it back into the offensive zone, thrown out into the slot area. That puck is tipped by Vitalins and up in the air. It'll fly all the way back to neutral ice. Thompson backs it up, skates in front of his crease, and will curl to the far side with speed down the left wing. Steps around two RedHawks to the corner, throws it to the slot on the backhand. A shot sent through, and a save is made against Carter King by Dahlmeyer. Puck below the goal line now where John Emmons will tap it up the far wall. Up to the point, the zone is held by Ashcroft, waiting. He fanned on the shot, and that will allow Emmons to grab it and softly chip it down the ice short of icing as Miami finishes up the change. 13:10 to go first period. Denver looking for an icebreaker. Down the left side, a move made at the blue line by Rieger Lorenz. His line mates jump offside on him, and we get a pause. 13:05 to go in the first, and a neutral zone draw coming up. Denver 5-1 victors yesterday.
Yeah, and you can tell really bringing in the momentum here. Lots of offensive zone possession time through these first 7 minutes for the Pioneers. And obviously the influx of talent with Zeev Bouillon helps a lot. He had a good couple moves there early, and now they've just established it and continue to establish it here.
Yeah, Pioneers again looking for their first sweep in a month and a half, which is not normal of this Pioneers team that's been pretty dominant in the NCHC the last couple of years. RedHawks have it in their own defensive zone. Colby Ambrosio eyes up the ice, finds Dukovac just beyond the center red, who will whip around and backhand it in. Lorenz trying to get it up the wall past Filion, and he will. Down the left side goes Jared Wright. He gets locked up in the corner by Dylan Moulton as the Pios move into the offensive zone. Wright handling. Moulton is all over him. Puck now stuck between their skates. It got up the wall, but Johnny Waldron couldn't handle it and clear. That allows Denver to get a shot from the point that is sent wide by Anderson. RedHawks were going to rush up the ice, and now Johnny Waldron will reverse it back to his defense, and Miami can work a little bit on the change. RedHawks get a partial dump as far as the offensive blue line before Denver sends it back into the RedHawks zone. Rimmed around the near side, Christoph Filion chips it back to the referee's crease where Anderson threw it off the helmet of a RedHawk. And that puck stayed in play. I'm not really sure why the whistle was blown there, but they'll have a center ice draw when we come back. It's immediate timeout. So 11:57 to go in the first period. No score between Miami and Denver here in the final game of the series. Back after this, you're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. $11:57 to go in the first period. Denver nothing, Miami nothing. We'll have a draw at center ice as they wait for the ice crew to finish up. Shots in favor of Denver 3-2. Pioneers have had the better of the chances so far, although Miami has defended outside of really the first shift of the game in which they allowed a break in for Jack Devine. They've defended pretty well.
Yeah.
They've turned the puck over in their zone a couple times, which was a big issue yesterday. So we'll draw it up at center ice. Denver wins the faceoff, and Polkamp will skate it across center and fire it in. Dahlmeyer out of his net to handle it, underhandling the puck as he gives it off to the far wing. Chapani tapped it centrally for Braden Morrison, who lost possession. Puck stuck right now around the red line. Ryquist will bank it off the far wall where Denver will take control. Now Morrison, though, with a steal as he got tangled up a little bit with Sam Harris. He will dump it in, though, and the RedHawks will go for a change. Long pass threaded up ahead. Harris made a move, it looked like at the blue line, but James Reeder just barely stayed on side. Pio's in the offensive zone as a slap shot from the far wing. Hit off the blocker of Dahlmeyer and then off the back glass. It came back in front, and he covered up as Salmonen was waiting on the doorstep for a potential bounce on the edge of the blue paint. 11:10 to go in the first period. A couple shots for Denver on that latest sequence. Still no score. Face off on the near side of the offensive zone for the Pioneers. Connor Capone, alternate captain and grad from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, anchoring this fourth line, along with Jake Fisher and Hagen Burrows. Line provided some offense yesterday. A shot sent in from the left point got tipped in front by Capone, but it bounced wide. Now Ashcroft center point, rips one through, and a left pad save made by Dahlmeyer. RedHawks turn it over, and now it's Garrett Brown around the net, trying to throw it in front. It's kicked on net, and Dahlmeyer will cover up as Burrows was trying to get that to his stick, but just didn't have enough room there. He kicked it up against the pad of Dahlmeyer, who covered up. 10:50 to go in the first. A little bit of pushing and shoving after the whistle, but it gets sorted out rather quickly. Miami's going to go for a change here and bring on the line of Ambrosio, Forsander, and Waldron with Moulton and Cox. Denver will stick with the same five they've got out there for this draw on the far side of the offensive zone.
Yeah, and if you're Michael Quinn there in the slot, you get the rebound off of Dahlmeyer, and you just kind of throw it right to the Denver player, try and get that out and up. So those kind of turnovers can result in goals easily for this Denver team.
Up the near wall, the RedHawks will break it out. Johnny Waldron skating it past center, loses his balance, and he handled it along the blue line from his knees and then took it in late. And the RedHawks are in offside with 10:39 left in the first. We will have a neutralized draw.
You know, like you said, Luke, a lot of defensive zone time for the RedHawks in this period. You know, only not even halfway through yet, 39 seconds away from being halfway through this first period, but shot 7-2, and that's pretty reflective of how much the RedHawks have really had the puck in the offensive zone, and it hasn't really been at all. Not even any offensive zone face-off chances, really, to speak of.
Had some of those in the first period yesterday.
Yep.
Pioneers get it to the offensive zone with speed. King of the high slot gets his stick lifted, gets it back down, and wrists one on. Blocker save made by Dahlmeyer. Puck sitting in the slot dangerously, but the RedHawks will skate it out courtesy of Theodore Forsander. He gets crunched along the near wall, and now Thompson's right back in. Thompson with a lane down the right side. He'll curl in the corner, throws it across. High slot trailer, shot save, rebound, they score. It's Carter King on the rebound that got to it off the point shot from the trailer. I believe that was Buckberger who had the shot from the high slot initially. And with 10:05 to go in the first, Denver leads at 1-0.
Yeah, and really unfortunate. Ethan Dahlmeyer's had to make a lot of saves, I should say, early in this first period, and that one, you know, hits off his pad and it just sits right in the blue paint. Not really any direction to it. Johnny Waldron not able to get back and press on, I believe it was Buckberger that shot that puck. He's just a step behind, and you know, can't allow these Pioneers to shoot from the slot, otherwise bad things are going to happen, and they did just there.
So the goal to Carter King, the Pioneer captain, who's now got 16 of them for the year. That ties him for the line lead with Aiden Thompson on the left wing. Sam Harris, the team leader, is 3 goals ahead of those two. Assists to Buckberger and Thompson at 9:55. And Denver has made it 1-0. Pioneers right back into the offensive zone, and from the far point, Booyam fakes, and we'll give it back up top for Anderson. He slides at center point, now has the return feed across for Booyam. Drop pass for Lorenz in the left circle, tried to throw it in front. That was sticked away by Blake Messenberg. Lorenz couldn't gain possession as Ryan Sullivan has it for Miami, and he'll flutter it across for Dempsey. Dempsey across the center red, lofts it in for Miami. RedHawks finish up the change, and now will force a turnover in the offensive zone, but Filion can't hang on to it as it is chipped back out to center, where Miami will clear back in. Halleck plays it to the near wing. RedHawks will be on it first as Filion tried to spin that deep, but the wall was sealed, and Booyam will send it off the glass and out. Michael Quinn bangs it up the near wall where it's gloved down by Filion. He finds Morrison, maybe a mini 3-on-2 here for the RedHawks. Filion couldn't force it in front. Now he'll send it in behind for Morrison to the left circle, right circle rather. A shot sent in by Hutchison and a save made by Halleck with the chest. So 8:38 to go in the first. He holds on. A lot of just kind of tomahawk chopping going on after whistles right now. More after that latest save by Halleck. Shots now heavily in favor of the Pioneers, 9-3, and they lead at 1-0.
And again, that was probably the best shot that the RedHawks have had all period, and it still wasn't really anything for the 6'5" goaltender from Alberta.
RedHawks win the draw. Hutchison on the left point, through traffic, a tip shot, in behind, and the whistle blew. The RedHawks put it in.
Wow.
That is a tough break for Miami. They got a tip shot in on Halleck. He was down. It was between his legs behind him, and the referee lost sight of the puck. Raymond Vitalins pounced on it and threw it in, but the whistle had blown, and it'll be an offensive zone faceoff for Miami.
Yeah, and these guys just can't catch a break. That's frustrating if you're Miami. You know, you're fighting for every single shot, and the puck squeaks through. Seen on the replay right now, the puck is sitting behind Halleck, and Hutchison is really frustrated with Andy Thackerberry, asking, why'd you blow it dead? Why? I mean, they blew it pretty quickly, but that just can't happen, and that's if it's kind of the epitome of what's gone wrong for the RedHawks so far this year. It's been, you know, a whistle there, or last weekend a goalie interference call on the game-winning goal with 17 seconds left. It's just frustrating if you're on the ice and you're fighting for every inch right now.
It was a shot from the left point by Hutchison that got tipped in front by John Emmons. And Raymond Vitalins was right on top of it. And yeah, you can see, I mean, from the overhead angle, Halleck is positioned at the top of the blue paint, and the puck is sitting about a foot behind him.
Coach Noreen is livid right now. And Colby Ambrosio telling Coach Noreen to watch out. He was on fire. He's not happy, and he's going to pump these boys up, try and get them to keep going here, because clearly they can get shots through and they can create some offense here.
Hutchison, after the faceoff win by Miami, sends a wrister into the shin pads of Burrows, who clears it out to center. Andy Thackerberry pointed at Anthony Noreen as he skated away from the Miami head coach. I think he might have been warned that anything more might result in the bench minor, so we'll keep an eye on that situation. RedHawks get it back into the offensive zone. Backhander in through traffic, got blocked in front off the stick of Hutchison, and it's banged down the ice by the Pioneers, so we'll go for changes. Miami had Denver hemmed up in their own zone for the last few minutes. Tipped puck on net by Nasson just beyond the center red. Vitalins makes his way into the crease just to ensure that Halleck holds, and he does. And another offensive zone faceoff coming up for Miami with 7:58 to go in the opening period. Denver leads it 1-0 off the goal by Carter King.
And this is where your mindset's tested. You know, you got really rough break right there, and it is what it is, but you got to move forward and you got to push. You got to know that you can push against these guys and really get some shots going on net here and try and create some offense for yourself. This is where, you know, resilience is going to be a big factor.
King tried to dangle his way through the middle of the ice. That got shut down by Cox. And now Dukovac with a steal at center ice. He's got a one-on-one, but he mishandled the puck, and it's swiped away by Garrett Brown. Up the near side goes the goal scorer in King. He'll chip it into the offensive zone for Denver. Pioneers forecheck and do take it away off the steal from King. He gets it up to the point, but sauce through the middle. Pittner did not get that puck through on net. Miami takes it. Waldron across the center red will dump it in. Back up the near wall go the Pioneers. Devine gains the red line and clears in. One step to the left of the goal. Dahlmeyer plays it to the near wall for the RedHawks out of the Miami net. Simonovic chips it up the dasher. It rolls by Fillion. Pittner holds it in on the right point. And now around to the far side. The puck just stuck on the boards, and it will be chopped out to center by Matt Chapani of Miami. Denver putting it right back below the goal line in the offensive zone, and Miami coughs it up out in front, wide open for Lorenz, and he shot it high and wide. Puck ricochets off the glass to Bouillon on the left point, who keeps it alive. Pittner on the near side throws the puck to the middle, tipped on net by Lorenz, and a left shoulder save made by Dahlmeyer. The RedHawks hack it out of the zone and get a little bit of breathing room. Denver puts it back in, but now Miami will again just chip it down. A lengthy route taken to it by Ken Anderson, and the icing waved as a result as the Pioneers break back up ice. Bouillon steps by Sanders. He crosses the center M. Pioneers into the offensive zone at the right point. The pass got by Ken Anderson. He was a righty. He would have caught that puck if he was a lefty. It'll go all the way down where Halleck stands on the NCHC logo and plays it up the near wing. Cross ice pass to the far side and dancing into the offensive zone. The puck was taken off the stick of Sam Harris. Miami tried to lift it up the ice and ended up shooting it into the RedHawk bench. And that will bring us to a timeout on the ice. So 5:52 to go in the first period. Carter King, the Pioneer captain, 16th goal of the year, has Denver leading 1-0. We're back to Cady Arena after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .552 to go in the first period. It's Denver 1, Miami nothing. We'll have a face-off at center ice here following the timeout. Eric Frank getting ready to drop the puck. This officiating crew is very particular about positioning on face-offs yesterday. We saw that throughout the night. They do drop the puck now, and Denver wins the face-off as the Pioneers push it into the offensive zone. Dylan Moulton just hacked Fisher's stick in half, and that'll be a penalty as the Pioneers get it at the center point. Ashcroft's shot gets blocked, and Miami touches up, and just a needless penalty taken there. I beg your pardon, it wasn't Moulton, it was Dempsey, but regardless, the point still stands. Kind of a wait for the puck there and just chop the stick clean in half. That'll be an easy call, 2 minutes for slash.
And especially against this Denver power play, which we saw was super successful yesterday. 2 for 3. And the third one that they didn't score on was only 58 seconds, and they sure had some chances on that one as well. But you just can't put this power play on the ice as much as you know. You got to try and limit it. Otherwise, again, you're going to get caught, and there's going to be some issues just with how skilled these Denver players are. Every single pass is a threatening pass with this with both power play units, I should say, on this Denver team.
Face-off win by the RedHawks, who, as Jeff mentioned, were just 1 for 3 on the PK yesterday, and the one they got was less than a minute long. Miami does clear it down to kill off the first 10 seconds of the Dempsey minor. Devine skating down the right side. He'll chip it into the offensive zone. Moulton gets to it first for the RedHawks, and will shovel it to the far side of the ice. Shapani then whacks it over his head back to the near corner, and Simonovics can clear as far as center. Thompson walking the blue line, steps into the offensive zone, onside, leaves it for Devine, and now a takeaway. Here comes Sullivan, 2-on-1 for the RedHawks. Sullivan waits, shoots high and wide. Probably would have been better off making a move there. Hallett came way out of his net on him.
He's a big goalie too.
He is at 6'5", but regardless, RedHawks get a shorthanded chance as Sullivan heads off. Back into the offensive zone go the Pioneers. Thompson skating it down the right wall, banks it off to the right point for Polkamp, the Bemidji State transfer. Holding on the right point, back down to the half wall for Thompson. Handling, sauces it across the ice. Top of the right circle, Jack Devine went to put it at the center point for Polkamp, but it hopped over his stick, and it will come back out to the neutral zone. 50 seconds remaining in the minor penalty to Zane Dempsey. Denver trying to add to a 1-0 lead here with 4:24 to go in the first. Pushed into the offensive zone by James Reeder. Denver's got 2 guys below the goal line, and the numbers do indeed win as Salmonen pulls it back to the point for Bouillon. Back for Salmonen, drops it for Bouillon once again on the left point. Handling, wrist one through traffic, tipped on by Reeder, but gobbled up by Ethan Dahlmeyer, who hangs on. Puck frozen with 28 seconds left on the slashing penalty to Dempsey. 4:08 to go in the first period. It's Denver 1 and Miami nothing.
We saw yesterday some problems with this Miami penalty kill, just not being able to clear the puck out of the zone. Or at the very least, not being able to clear it past the red line. But early in this penalty kill, able to do that just a little bit more. And that's the trend that needs to continue if they want to stifle this Denver power play. It's also interesting, Zeev Buium, not the power play quarterback on the first unit.
It's on this second line for Denver. And they do win the face-off and trying to put it out in front for Lorenz, but a good stick by Waldron gets it at least to Buium on the center point. Between the legs pass for Lorenz at the right dot. As he's forced to skate it to the near wall, Lorenz leaves it at the right point for Buium, trying to step by Waldron. He's pinched off, and Waldron throws it down. And that's going to run the rest of the time off on what was an excellent penalty kill by Miami. Dempsey's out of the box, and the RedHawks are 1 for 1 on the kill tonight. Reeder down the right side, enters the zone, throws a tipped puck that pops up in the air shoulder high and skitters to the far corner. RedHawks end up with it. Cox now works to the near side of the ice and trying to thread a stretch pass for Ambrosio, but that's picked off. Break up the ice for Denver now. Right throws it to the back door, and it's tapped in by Seabrian. So Denver didn't score on the power play, but immediately afterwards at even strength, the Denver native, Kieran Seabrian, gets his 5th of the year, and the Pioneers have doubled their lead. It's 2-0 with 3:19 to go in the first.
And immediately, once Spencer Cox stepped up, I had a feeling something was going to go wrong there. Raymond Fattalins was not back. I don't think he was expecting Cox to jump up there, but he did. We'll watch it on the replay here in a minute, but yeah, not a good pinch if you're Spencer Cox there. We know how speedy this Denver team is, and so you really have to pick your spots. Puck was just kind of sitting in a great play from the Denver forward. See who it was on the secondary assist.
It was Rieger Lorenz that'll get the secondary. Wright gets the primary assist. Goal by Seabrian at 16:41 officially.
So a great play from Lorenz. Just drew Cox in and then made a great backhand pass, creating the 2-on-1 and eventually the goal.
So Denver leads it 2-0, and really this offense has continued to permeate the lineup as a shot comes in from a sharp angle that flies high and wide from Fisher, and it'll hit off the corner glass and go down the ice. Kieran Seabrian, one of just 3 undrafted forwards in the lineup for this Denver team here tonight, and he's on the board. Miami will now turn it over below their own goal line as Thompson took that from Hutchison in the corner, quickly reversed to the far point where a big drive is blocked as Christoph Fillion slid in the way of Eric Polkamp's blast, and it's up into the netting with 2:21 to go in the first period. Shots shifting further and further in Denver's favor, now 12-5, and they lead it 2-0. Face-off coming up on the far side of the ice.
And honestly, if you're Miami, you're probably fortunate that it's not more right now, considering how much offensive zone time Denver had early in this period. Nonetheless, you want to try and get one, try and get some shots or some offensive zone possession time at the very least. Got to watch the turnovers in your own zone here, as there was another one by Hampus Rydquist.
Right off the face-off, Miami won it. They've been good in this game against the NCHC's best face-off team. It's thrown out in front. Thompson tried to chop that on, and that got partially blocked and rolled wide. Puck pinned along the end wall now and pulled free by Carter King, one of the 2 goal scorers tonight for the Pioneers. Devine skates it to the high slot and spun around with a shot that got blocked up high. Now from below the goal line, it's thrown to the backside, and King had a chance at it, but he threw it off the pad of Ethan Dahlmeyer, and the RedHawks grab it on the far side and will throw it off the glass and out. There is no time to rest for this Miami team as Denver goes right back in on him to the offensive zone. Polkamp on the left point. Finds Devine, circling the zone. Leaves it center point for Anderson. Drags it, throws it to the backside. Polkamp was there, but he fanned on the backdoor attempt. Now Miami exiting the zone with speed. 3-on-2 for the RedHawks. Waldron throws it between the legs of his man, and he found Casper Nasson in the middle of the ice, but he's bumped off the puck, and the Pioneers will clear. Minute 10 to go in the first period. 2-0 Denver. Off the goals by Seabrian and Carter King. Colby Ambrosio, the Boston College transfer who scored for Miami last night. On it in the referee's crease for Miami at the center red line. He will throw it behind him and into the Pioneer zone. Buium gets the puck swiped away by John Emmons as the RedHawks have it behind the Pioneer net. Fattalins throws it out in front. 2 whacks at it for Shapani, but he got stood up by Halleck, and now it's golfed back out to center ice, where Simonovics will take it for the RedHawks. Simonovics cuts to the middle, drags, shoots. It's off the ankle of Garrett Brown and flies up into the netting with 33 seconds to go in the first. Miami will get an offensive zone face-off on the far side of the ice, trailing 2-0 after getting a couple of shots and probably their best offensive chance of the game.
Yeah, and a great forecheck by John Emmons really led to those chances, and great play by Chupani just to go straight to the net, get a couple chances there. Saw him get a big chance yesterday in a sequence, unable to score from almost the exact same area. Nonetheless, those are the chances you want to try and get. Establish the forecheck, create some chaos below the goal line. You got to get to loose pucks first, though. That's the big thing, is that these Denver players, they're fast and they're heavy. They're so strong. So you got to beat them to those pucks, get position on them, and then create something from there.
Face off on the near side of the ice. Miami is 13 for 22 on draws today. RedHawks are the worst team in the NCHC on face-offs, and they throw that on as a face-off shot by Vitalins comes in on Halleck, who covers.
I don't mind that play at all, actually.
I don't either. So now go down as a face-off win for Denver, but I think that was right where Vitalins wanted it. Pioneers are the best team in the NCHC in face-offs, Miami the worst, but the RedHawks have competed on the dots this weekend. Had the advantage through 2 periods last night. Face-off win again, and Chupani with a shot from the top of the left circle. Stick save made by Halleck. RedHawks still with it. Emmons pushes it up the far wall. One-timer there. Skitters wide off the stick of Michael Quinn. Back along the near board, Simonovics pinches in for the point for Miami to get it. Simonovics shuffling up the near wall, slides it down the boards for Vitalins in the near corner. 10 seconds to go. He'll tuck it in front. It went through the legs of 2 players, both Emmons and Ashcroft, before it was tracked down by Wright, who will skate it up ice, clear it into the Miami zone, and run the rest of the time off the clock in the opening period. So a strong shift to end it for Miami, but they let the Pioneers score 2 in the opening period like they did yesterday in each of the first 2 periods, with Denver scoring a pair of goals in each. Carter King, Kieran Seabrian get the tallies on the board for the Pioneers in period 1, and after 20 minutes, Denver leads it 2-0. Jeff, slower start for this Miami team, honestly, like you said, than what they saw yesterday. Difference was, yesterday they had a fast start. They went down 2-0 when they were probably playing pretty decent hockey.
Yeah.
Today, you don't start too strong. Denver doesn't really punish you for it until later on in the period, and they put in 2.
Yeah, 100%, and obviously it's hard when you have a goal called off, and that's, you know, that's its own issue. That's a separate thing, but you know, they really started to have some urgency late in this period, and you could see there on that last possession with the last minute and a half, you know, this line of Emmons, I guess it was Emmons, Vitalins, and Chupani, a little bit of a switch there. But you see that line create something on the forecheck, create a couple good shots. Chupani with 2 right in front of the net. Great saves by Halleck nonetheless, but that's what you want. You want to play with urgency. Get your feet moving. You're not going to outskill this Denver team. We talked about that last night. Every single NCHC team, you're not going to outskill. You've got to outwork them. You've got to outpace them. You got to beat them to every puck. And that last minute and a half was good hockey for the RedHawks, but you got to start it earlier in the period as well. You can't go down 2-0 and then play how you want to play.
So yeah, interesting. You mentioned that Chupani line change. Casper Nassen blocked a shot and was shaken up as he went back to the bench. So that is something of note potentially, as Nassen was not on the ice at the end of that period with his normal line. We'll let you know if we get any updates on that. For now, we'll take a break, and when we come back, Luke Lewis' Red Hawk Radio Intermission Report. Stats analysis from the first. Take a look at the scoreboards in college hockey and preview period number 2 coming up after the break. 20 minutes gone by from Cady Arena. Our score, Denver 2 and Miami nothing, and you're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
Welcome back to Red Hawk Radio here on the first intermission report. Denver leads by a score of 2-0, outshooting the Red Hawks 13-9 as well. Similar storyline tonight that we had last night, 2-0 after one, and Denver definitely controlling the pace of play. Started off really physical early. We saw hits on both sides, especially Sam Harris with a huge hit on Hampus Reichquist right in front of the Red Hawk bench. Blew his helmet off. That really showed what tonight was gonna be like. Denver not satisfied with their 5-1 win last night. They wanted to set the tone early, and we saw that with a lot of scrums in front of the net as well. Both teams getting physical, protecting their goalies, and especially Zeev Buium. Kind of shocking to see. He was a bit heated to start that first period, punching guys in front of the goalie, you know, some extracurriculars away from the play. We saw a little fire out of Zeev Buium. You'd think maybe he wants to stay out of it a little bit, considering he was suspended just a game ago. But, man, he plays with swagger, and that's what you love out of their star defenseman. We saw some good chances from Denver at the beginning. They really dominated the pace of play. And as I mentioned in the pregame, that top line of Aiden Thompson, Carter King, and Jack Devine were on full display in that first period, just working the puck around. Jack Devine just excellent on the perimeter, using his body to protect the puck. Carter King getting in front of the net, using that big frame. And Aiden Thompson as well, just great puck protectors. Almost reminds me of like that Blackhawks Stanley Cup top line with Taves and Hossa and Saad, just like working the offensive zone, protecting the puck, controlling the time of possession. Great job by Denver's top line. We saw Carter King with a nice backhand shot that just got sticked away by Ethan Dahlmeyer, who looked pretty good to start the game as well. And Rieger Lorenz with a great chance. He looked great in that first period. Rieger Lorenz, if I'm looking here, is a Minnesota Wild draft pick in the second round. Perhaps him and Zeev Buium, teammates in the future. On the Miami side of things, definitely did a great job getting in the way of shots from the point. A lot of block shots. Not scared to put your body on the line. You got to do things like that if you're going to beat a Pioneers team that has won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. Do the little things right, and it makes all the difference. However, more problems clearing the puck for Miami. We saw yesterday specifically on the power play for Denver. Miami just could not send the puck down the ice, and which resulted in 2 power play goals for the Pioneers. Tonight it happened a little bit more 5-on-5. Got to get that puck out of the zone. Every mistake, this Pioneers team will pounce on the RedHawks. And we also saw some trouble gaining zone entry, specifically that first line I talked about in the pregame. Johnny Waldron, Colby Ambrosio, they got to set the tone for the RedHawks, get that puck in deep, playing with it a little too much at the blue line, causing turnovers, causing problems. They're going to have to clean that up. But, man, we talked about it so much in the pregame. Zeev Buium, just such an interesting player. We saw the swagger in warm-ups. He almost goes about his business like he knows he's better than everyone on the ice. I mean, he was just doing things out there that was, you can't even comprehend. Little tucks between the legs, little chip plays, just keeping guys on their toes. He plays, you know, with unbelievable whimsical power, just exuberance. It's unbelievable. You can't think of enough adjectives for number 28, who, you know, we might see in the Minnesota Wild lineup come playoff time. He is a special player. But like I said, Denver really controlling the pace of play, outshooting Miami early, and that's when the goals started. That work of the top line. Carter King picks up his 16th goal of the year, which is good for second best, tied with line mate Aiden Thompson on the team, just behind Sam Harris. But let's talk about that play, because it was just stellar work by Aiden Thompson. We've seen it, you know, you saw it yesterday. We've seen it all season out of the Pioneers' number 7 assistant captain, just gaining so much speed around the net, using those powerful crossovers, gaining zone entry, and just when you think you have him blocked off, just an unbelievable turnaround, spin it back, finds the D, Buckberger, who fires it, and Carter King, as I mentioned before, big frame, gets himself right in front of the net and puts it home on Ethan Dahlmeyer to give the Pioneers a 1-0 lead. Then it was more Pioneers after that, with Kieran Cabrian scoring his 5th of the year. assisted from both line mates Jared Wright and Riga Lorenz. We really saw that third line for the Pioneers come out to play today. Just crashing the net, getting a ton of shots on goal. But just a great use of the stick for Riga Lorenz there. The defense pinched on him, and he just used his body to shield him. Little backhand chip through the middle to spring Riga Lorenz and center Kieran Cabrine on a 2-on-1, and then great pass, I should say, by Jared Wright to find center Kieran Cabrine. The 2 goals for the Pioneers come off the stick of 2 undrafted players. There's only 3 undrafted players in the entire Denver starting lineup for the forwards, and 2 of the 3 get on the score sheet. So that really just shows the depth this Pioneers team has, and they can score on all 4 lines. Unbelievable. And then we only saw 1 power play today. In the first period, Zane Dempsey with a slash broke the stick of the Pioneers player. But a much better kill for the RedHawks. I'm sure they stressed it yesterday. I'm sure Anthony Noreen talked to his guys, said you got to get the puck out of the zone. That is key, because little mistakes is crucial. And as I mentioned a little bit before, just the blocking of shots. Ryan Sullivan with a great block shot. Getting in the lane of these Pioneers defensemen is key, because they got big guys in front of the net. Cannot allow shots to go through. And then we also saw a 2-on-1 with Ryan Sullivan almost having a 1-on-1 with the goalie, Freddie Halleck. And we saw Halleck come way out of the crease on that one, and Ryan Sullivan decided to shoot. It was an interesting decision to opt for the shot. He sent it just over the net. Obviously, it's very hard to know high speed in that moment, what move you're going to do, but with Freddie Halleck coming out so far on that, you'd maybe like to see him do a fake shot, be a little more patient, and try to get something off this sophomore goaltender. And a little surprising, we talked about on the pregame how Zeev Buium was going to be such a big impact, specifically on the power play. However, we didn't see Zeev Buium on the power play 1, saw him on the power play 2, and that's when Kieran Cabrine scored just after the power play had expired. So, curious decision by head coach David Carl. Obviously, no need to question him with his success with the Denver Pioneers and with USA Hockey. But exciting period with about 4 minutes and 40 seconds left until the second period. A really good crowd tonight here in Oxford. Students came out to show their support. Hopefully it can spark the first Miami win in the NCHC this season, and the first in the last 21 games. Well, we got about 4 minutes and 20 seconds left here. I'm going to step out briefly. Luke West-Poley and Jeff Middleton will be back on the call in the second period between the Pioneers and the RedHawks. All right, folks, just 3 minutes until the second period kicks off here at Steve Cady Arena. Let's take a peek at some keys for Miami in the second period if they want to come back and make this game a competition. First of all, got to limit the neutral zone speed out of this Pioneers team, specifically that top line I mentioned with Carter King, Aiden Thompson, and Jack Devine. Just making quick work through the neutral zone and getting pucks in deep. That being said, on the Miami side of things, they got to get the puck in deep. Too many turnovers at the blue line, and this Pioneers team is too good. If you turn it over, especially with guys like Buium on the back end, they're going to get in transition really quickly and make things happen, as we saw that 2-on-1. Also, we talked about this coming into the game. Denver, best face-off team in the NCHC, and Miami, the worst face-off team in the NCHC. It all starts on the draws. We saw Miami end the period pretty promising. Got a lot of offensive possession time, and that was a result of a few won face-offs. If you lose face-offs to this team, they're going to spring their forwards down, and these talented defensemen are going to find them. Taking a quick peek at college hockey scores around the country. Providence up 1-0 against UMass Lowell. We also got Minnesota up 2-0 against Ohio State, continuing their solid stretch there. And Penn State, the surprise in East Lansing, taking the game against the #1 ranked Spartans last night in a shootout, are up 3-0 in the second period. Crazy things happening in East Lansing. All those teams in the Big Ten must be feared. In the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres are beating my counterpart, Luke West Poley's New York Rangers, so not happy about that one. Stars up 2-0, and Tage Thompson with a goal in that Sabres game. We were kind of surprised to not see him in the Four Nations. You know, that 6-6 frame. They maybe could have used him in that championship game. Anyway, lights are on here in Goggin as Miami is about to take the ice. Luke West Poley, Jeff Middleton will have the call. I'll be back here on Red Hawk Radio for the second intermission report. Enjoy.
All right, Luke, thank you. Second period about to begin here from Cady Arena. Luke West Poley, Jeff Middleton with you as Denver leads Miami by a 2-0 count. And Jeff didn't play great hockey if you're Miami in that opening period. Like you said, a little bit at the end of the period, feel a little bit fortunate maybe that you're just down 2-0, kind of in the sense that you played, 14, 15 minutes of not so great hockey and really didn't get scored on at all during that span. It was actually when the game kind of was a little more back and forth that Denver actually potted their 2 goals. But things got to shift for a Miami team that I think got a little worse as the game wore along yesterday. They'll need to go in the opposite direction here tonight.
Yeah, certainly, and I think you want to come out here and get started early. Get started early. Try and get something generated in the offensive zone because, like you said, the first 14, 15 minutes were not that at all. You give Denver a power play, doesn't help anything, but also even strength. Like we said in the first, felt like Miami was just a step behind and Denver was taking advantage, so very fortunate that it's only 2-0, but still a margin that they're able to come back from, and we've seen them come back from. We saw it last weekend against number 19 Colorado College, and they can do it. It's just a matter of getting those chances and moving your feet, creating for yourself, and not sitting back on your heels or anything like that.
RedHawks iced it off the face-off, and so the face-off will back up into their own end on the near side of the ice. 19:40 to 45 to go in the second period. Shots lead in favor of Denver 13-9. RedHawks got a couple of those late in the period, and probably their best shift of the period was inside the final minute. Face-off win for the Pioneers, and Christoph Fillion comes up to block a Ken Anderson shot. Got him up high, but Fillion looks to be just fine as he skates it up the ice and will work it into the offensive zone. Puck wrapped around to the far wing where Morrison is on it for Miami. He's fighting a difficult battle against 3 Pioneers, but now help arrives for the RedHawks as the puck flies up in the air, and Chapani will tap it in deep for the RedHawks. Miami goes for a change. Around the near wall, Michael Quinn fans on the shot for the near half wall. Now a 3-on-2 the other way for the Pioneers, but Thompson's cross-ice pass too far in front for Jack Devine to handle, and the RedHawks can grab it. Through center, a takeaway by Zeev Buyum. D to D, and now to the near wing it comes to Rieger Lorenz, who will shove it into the offensive zone for the Pios. To the far half wall, Johnny Waldron trying to dangle around a couple Pioneers, and now it's taken away out in front. Lorenz all alone, and he shot it off the left goal post. A turnover by Waldron, and Lorenz was all by himself in front. Beat Dahlmeyer, but rung it off the left pipe. Denver had to regroup rather quickly, but gets it back into the offensive zone. Now, though, the RedHawks will clear down. John Emmons, though, is going to skate down to beat out the icing, and that'll force Freddie Halleck to come out of his net for Denver and play the puck. Around the near wall, Rieger Lorenz chips it forward for the Pioneers. Johnny Waldron couldn't dangle it through traffic as Lorenz took it away from him. Waldron getting tied up along the near wall on the red line. Seabrian will steal it, throw it into open space on the far side where The puck is shot in by Polkamp on goal. Kasper Nassen is back onto the ice, which is good to see for the RedHawks. And Miami quickly advanced the puck, but looks like Vitalin's was a step early into the zone, and it'll be offside. And because the pass up to Vitalin's on the near blue line came from all the way inside Miami's zone from Nassen, that's where the faceoff will come. Back in the RedHawks defensive end with 2 minutes gone by in the second period. It is 2-0 at Denver, and the faceoff on the near wing will be taken by Salmonen for the Pioneers against Raymond Vitalin's of Miami.
You mentioned Rieger Lorenz, throwing it off the goalpost. 4 shots already for him so far through this game, and that one's not even going to count. So 5 total shots for him, 4 on goal, I should say. He's been excellent this weekend for head coach David Carl and these Pioneers. Underrated piece of this Pioneers team for sure, but really makes an impact.
Certainly. Junior out of Calgary, Alberta, second-round pick by the Minnesota Wild in 2022. RedHawks win the face-off and clear it out of the zone, but Denver, as they typically do, brings it right back in. Miami will win possession, though, and Vitalin's finds Simonovics, who on the far side will laser it into the offensive zone. Vitalin's backhands it up for Reichwest. One-time shot snatched out of the air by Halleck. He had a screener in front, and the big Kasper Nassen right on the edge of the blue. So Halleck had no problem.
Saw that last weekend, Kasper Nassen going to the net and trying to create something in front. I mean, like you said, that's a big body in front of another big body in that Pioneers net. Nonetheless, try and get bodies and pucks to the net. Great play from the 2 Swedes, Nassen to go to the front and Reichwest just to throw that puck on.
Puck dropped on the near side of the ice, and Miami's offensive zone face-off win by Denver, who will lift it down the ice, but it deflects off Dylan Moulton and ends up in the near corner. Fisher gets to it first, but Zane Dempsey will pinch him against the near wall. There's a stick that goes flying. It belongs to Schapani out of the puck battle, but Miami wins it. Schapani will pick the stick up back off the ice, and now Miami will break through center, and it is Schapani down the right wing. Little bit of speed, drags and shoots. Tipped up high and wide by Booyam. Schapani back with it behind the net, backhands it in front, Sullivan 2-whacks it, sits on the backside, a third poke at it for Messenberg, and that got blocked. Halleck made the initial 2 saves, and then coming back, it was Burrows that made the block on the 3rd try from Blake Messenberg. Schapani rims it to the far wing, Dempsey holds the zone on the left point. He will throw it under the skate of Matt Schapani, where the puck ricochets off the near boards and ends up at the right point for Dylan Moulton. Back down the half wall for Messenberg. Now Dempsey, center point, slides one intentionally wide. That bounced back in front but was quickly steered out of harm's way by the Pioneers and back out to center. RedHawks with some hop in their step here. Emmons tries to drag and shoot. That shot got blocked away by Torrey Pittner, and he and Emmons collided and both went down to the ice. RedHawks, though, keep possession alive in the offensive zone. Hutchison plays it down low for Ambrosio, tried to drive the net, but he lost the puck. Now just sitting in the high slot, the puck will be chipped to the far wall by Emmons. Waldron muscles his way to it, backhands a tipped puck through the slot that ends up on the stick of Michael Quinn at the right point. Now it's Waldron left point, walking the blue line. Waldron slides it to the right, the left circle, for Quinn. Hutchison throws it, again intentionally wide, but it will not pop back out in front for the RedHawks. They're back on it, though. Hutchison driving down the middle, penalty coming up. Who is it on? It might be on Miami, as Hutchison was driving straight down the center of the ice from the center point. There was nobody above the hash marks. And yeah, they're going to get both guys. As I was going to say, it looked like initially the referee and Andy Thackerberry put his arm up, and that was when the puck was at the center point with Hutchison, who was skating down for a potential shot from right between the hashes. He had his arm up for about 2 seconds, and then right as Hutchison released it, he then blew the whistle, which made me think the initial penalty wasn't on Denver, and indeed it was not. But then there was a secondary penalty on Miami's Max Dukovac. So Dukovac and Capone will both go for 2 minutes. Roughing calls against each, and they'll skate 4-on-4 with 15:50 to go in the second, and a 2-0 Denver lead. Offensive zone face-off for Miami is lost as Schapani had it pulled down from between his legs by Eric Polkamp, and the Pioneers will work it up the ice. Puck is left on the left side red line for Polkamp to run into. Steps to the middle and wrists one on that is grabbed out of the air by Dahlmeyer, and he hangs on 15 seconds in to the 4-on-4, and This Denver power play is very dangerous, and you could make an argument that 4-on-4, they might be just as dangerous with the extra space on the ice and as much skill being present on this Pioneers team.
Yeah. If you're Miami right now, you're a little frustrated that that call happens because you have what is your best shift of the game right there, in my opinion. It was that, and at the end of the third, really loved what the RedHawks were doing below the goal line. Again, doing what we were saying earlier is winning puck battles, getting there first, getting position. Like, just a great hockey. It's how you win hockey games against teams like Denver, and saw right there why it could be successful.
Miami with a steal in their defensive zone. As John Emmons will circle it back towards his own end. Emmons hits the brakes, plays it across for Dylan Moulton, who passed it up the near side of the ice looking for Vitalin's, but it went right through his legs. Denver trying to regroup. Vitalin's broke up a pass initially, but the Pioneers will recover possession. Thompson down the left side, leaves it for King just inside the blue line, shovels it back for Thompson in the left corner. Forehand, backhand, now skating it all the way up to the left point. It's King once more. King skating down the left side. He was going to drive the net, forced behind by Moulton, who will now steal it from him. And the RedHawks can go. It's a 3-on-2 here for Miami. Denver is gassed. RedHawks heading up ice. Waldron throws it across, but a good back check by the trailer in Devine to get that one away from Johnny Waldron, who will be forced out to center ice where he can grab possession. Waldron back in. To his backhand it goes, holds the zone, finds Ryquist, throws it across the ice for Vitalin's. Back for Ryquist alone on the near side. He'll wrap it around and score! 4-on-4 goal for Hampus Ryquist. He drove down the near side of the ice and got the feed. The shot lane wasn't there as Halleck was playing heavily towards the short side, and Ryquist said, okay, then I'll wrap it around, and he puts it beyond the post for his second goal of the season. Just tucking that one in as he threw it across the crease and inside the right pipe. And with 37 seconds to go in the 4-on-4 and 14:27 to go in the middle period, Miami has made it a 2-1 Denver lead.
What a great give and go. Hampus Ryquist, Johnny Waldron, first of all, got to give him credit, enters the zone, protects the puck from Jack Devine, who was all over him, enters the zone, gives the puck off to Ryquist. Ryquist goes cross ice, finds Raymond Vitalin's, and Vitalin's gives it right back. Great read from Ryquist as well to read the wraparound. Excellent goal. 4-on-4, 2-1 game here.
Pioneers move it back into the offensive zone. It's Ryquist from Vitalin's and Waldron. Now a wraparound trying a second whack at it there for Harris, and that wouldn't go. He gets a third try from between the hashes, and he threw it off the right pad of Dahlmeyer. Dukovac and Capone out of the box as the puck ends up at center. Shapani will play it in for Miami, and we're back to 5-on-5. So Denver, nearly as they did yesterday following the Miami goal, answered right back. Took Denver 18 seconds yesterday after the RedHawks scored their one and only goal to get it right back and make it 5-1 early in the third. Up the near wall, Lorenz tips it over the red line. Harris couldn't get it away from Cox, though, and Miami will now send it back Denver's way. Ashcroft around his own net, throws it up the near wall. Nasson had to leave it to avoid too many men, and that will allow Denver to push it into the Miami zone. Dahlmeyer throws a little bit of a screen there behind Miami's net as Dylan Moulton loses his balance. Simonovic, though, will pull the puck free for the RedHawks to the far corner. He will escape and now threaded through the middle of the ice where Morrison can chip it out past center. Lifted up over everybody. It is settled down by the Denver defense, who will give it back out near the red line where Simonovic dumps it in for Miami. Full five-man change for the RedHawks. Four-man change, I should say, with Nasson forechecking. And now it's John Emmons. He gets the puck poked off his stick, though, by Jared Wright. Rieger Lorenz will dump it in for the Pioneers. Dempsey, near Hash's defensive zone, pushes it through center. Johnny Waldron will throw it back into Miami's defensive end, though, where Michael Quinn skates into it in space. Quinn scans and throws it up the near wall. Waldron tips it, but secured on defense for Denver, and now it is Thompson skating it directly across the center end. Thompson heads left, gets chipped by Quinn, and will throw it behind the net to the far side of the ice where Polkamp pinches into gravity. Spins one out in front. Michael Quinn, the only guy there, and he will guide the puck to the far wall where the RedHawks poke it further and clear. Denver trying to get right back to it. Devine gets stood up just inside the blue line. Now King and Sullivan fighting for the puck in space, and it is the Pioneers that win the battle as King will thread it for Devine down the left wing. Devine starting to drive in on the net, makes his way to his forehand as he cut across the crease, but did not get the puck on his stick on the backside. Now it's King with a slap shot from the center point with a little bit of traffic in front, but easily handled by Ethan Dahlmeyer, and he will hold on. Second goal of the year for Hampus Ryquist comes at 4-on-4 for Miami, and the RedHawks have trimmed the lead in half with 11:37 to go in the second period. It's now Denver 2 and Miami 1. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Two-one Denver, 11:37 to go in the second period. Miami, though, has come out with a boost in this second period. RedHawks put together a couple strong shifts. Saw some penalties that sent each team to 4-on-4. Felt like that play style favored the skill of Denver, but it was Miami who scored on the 4-on-4. Hampus Ryquist, second of the year, has got us within one. Face-off in the offensive zone for the Pioneers. RedHawks win the draw, but Hutchison cannot grab it cleanly, and it comes up to the point where Bouillon plays catch and has it on the left side. Bouillon skates it across now on the right wing, curls up towards the blue line, wrists one through traffic, blocked in front, puck flies free on the far side, but Harris could not turn that into a shot, and instead it's along the near wall once again where Bouillon gets forced out to neutral ice. Toe drags it past Messenberg and feeds up the far wing for Reeder. Reeder throws it out in front. Harris with a shot from the high slot that got blocked in front. RedHawks all have their backs turned to the puck. Meanwhile, Bouillon throws it in front, and Messenberg will block it. Miami's going to throw this down and on net, and the RedHawks can change as that'll negate the icing, and Denver will push it back up the ice along the near wall. It is tipped into the Miami zone by Salmonen. Spencer Cox behind the Miami net will flutter it off the glass and out. And at center now, it's Dylan Moulton entering the zone. Finding Schipani with some space. Schipani drags and shoots. Nice block by Polkamp. A little bit shaken up for him as he heads back on defense. RedHawks still with it. Moulton sends one on, and that is eaten up by Freddie Halleck, who will freeze it with 10:29 to go in the second period. Still 2-1 Pioneers, but Miami looks to be a little bit more offensively active here in the second period, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can just tell their passes have been crisp. Their breakouts have been strong when they've needed to play defense. They've blocked shots. And obviously that play there in their own defensive zone, a little bit scary as everyone had their backs turned. They weren't sure where the puck was. But then they come down and execute 3-4 passes in a row, get a shot on net, look for a rebound. That's exactly what you need to be doing here against this Pioneer team.
Face-off won by Denver. They'll lift it 3/4 of the length of the ice where Rieger Lorenz will then kick it from the blue line all the way in on goal, and that'll force Dahlmeyer to cover it. So Denver quickly turns a D-zone draw into an O-zone draw, and they will take it from the far side of the ice. It is the third line out there of Seabrian, Lorenz, and Wright for Denver. For Miami, Johnny Waldron out there with Forsander and Ambrosio, the top forward line for the RedHawks. Face-off went to the near side. It comes a big drive by Polkamp on the left point that flies wide. And now Waldron turns it over, and Lorenz with a mini 2-on-1. Polkamp looking as a trailer. Instead, it's Lorenz firing from the right circle, and a glove save made by Dahlmeyer. He'll catch and hang on. 10:09 to go in the second period. Couple of chances there for the Pioneers. Again, they really can turn nothing into a scoring chance in a flash, and we saw it a couple times on that shift.
Yeah, and you got to take care of the puck. Against every single NCHC team, you have to take care of the puck. Obviously, that's, it's easier said than done. These guys are fast, they're big, they're forcing you to make plays, probably some that you don't want to make, but you have to just to try and avoid getting lit up or, an even worse turnover. But still, you got to take care of the puck and make sure the plays you're making are safe and smart as well. Otherwise, like you said, Luke, they're going to turn it into a goal.
Face-off win, and the RedHawks get it out to center. Ryquist lays a big hit on Thompson. Chapani and Devine tangled up as the RedHawks send it up the far side, and Nasson does get a touch on it as it goes into the offensive zone. So icing negated, RedHawks working on the forecheck. Batalon's in with Chapani, and Chapani wins possession and rips it around the near wall for Dempsey. Dempsey to the center point for Ryquist, who slid one in front. Nasson got a tip, but it flew way high. Now it's Dempsey on the left point, dragging and shooting through traffic. That hits somebody in front, and now a penalty coming up on Denver. This might go against the Pioneer goaltender, potentially, as it looked like Batalon's got tripped up. But the only guy that was really, Batalon's obviously got tripped, but the only guy that was really kind of there that could have got his stick on him was Freddie Halleck, and that looks like it's the case.
Yep.
And so Pioneers
That's a
will
rare
send
one.
Aiden Thompson to go serve it. Goaltenders are not above the law, and so Freddie Halleck will commit the tripping penalty, and the rare goalie penalty will send the Denver alternate captain Aiden Thompson to the box.
Big power play here for the RedHawks. Obviously, that 4-on-4 goal is big as well for obvious reasons, but if you can get one here on the man advantage, they had a couple chances yesterday, especially early in that first, but nothing doing, trying to change their fortune here today.
Pioneers win the face-off, and it is drilled the length of the ice, where Lorenz is aggressively forechecking for the Pioneers, and he will force the RedHawks to give it away, as they'll just throw it out towards center, where the Pioneers can put it back in. Denver again playing a little bit aggressively. This time Michael Quinn gets out of it, and he'll thread it through the middle of the ice for Johnny Waldron. Waldron hands for Ambrosio down the left side, entering the zone. Ambrosio reverses, chips it for Waldron, throws it across the ice. Who gets to it first? The Pioneers do, and it's sent down by Anderson. Minute 23 remaining in the penalty, as Waldron will take it on the near blue line, skated across the M. Puck is pushed off his stick by the Pioneers, but finds Hutchison, who can wrap it into the offensive zone. Spencer Cox leaves it for Casper Nasson, who pushes one to the far corner. Hutchison now up at the left point, battling for position, and the Pioneers poke it out of the zone. The Miami will be forced to regroup. Cox back into the zone, shovels it in, as he gets hit, but does do his job. But the RedHawks just surrender the zone, as Sullivan did not connect cleanly with Hutchison, and Miami again will have to regroup. 44 seconds left to go in the penalty. Miami gets it into the zone. They get locked up, and Denver clears down. Cox takes it on the near side wall, throws it across, and hits the skate of Vitalins. Sullivan there for support for Miami, and he will rope it into the offensive zone for the RedHawks. Hutchison chips it, can't keep it in the zone, and now Denver will come out with a potential 2-on-1. Down the right side, Fisher sending it to the middle in a diving effort by Vitalins to chip it away from Salmonen, who would have had a breakaway there. And he jumps in to at least tip it into the glove of Ethan Dahlmeyer, who holds on. 16 seconds left in the penalty, being served by Thompson, and what has been a dreadful power play so far for Miami.
Yeah, obviously you want to score on the power play, but in order to do that, you have to set something up, and that Denver forecheck on the penalty kill was lethal, and they were breaking up passes, getting sticks in lanes, and obviously see why they're so successful both offensively and defensively there. So they're just going to kill the rest of this off.
Pioneers win the face-off, back it up to their own zone, and now throw it down the ice. Simonovic will take it, feed forward from Messenberg, who tips it into the zone, but now Thompson is out. Redhawks, though, do get it out to the front where Emmons had a golden opportunity, but he got stood up. Redhawks still with it. Simonovic's left point. Drags, pushes it around his man, tried to throw it in front. That got blocked. And now Devine will skate it up the near wing and out. Devine enters the zone, finds Thompson left wing, working in, back down low. Devine bangs it on, takes 2 hacks at it, and Dahlmeyer will be there to stone him and cover up as Devine just kept hacking and whacking at the Miami goaltender there, and the Redhawks took some exception, but Dahlmeyer was there to make the save, and we get a stoppage of 7:06 to go in the second period, and a wonder that as Miami had a really good kill and then got scored on right afterwards, Denver with a phenomenal penalty kill and then gives up one of their better scoring chances of the game as soon as they kill it off.
And John Emmons is such an interesting player. Didn't really play a lot earlier in the season and then made his impact felt as soon as he got into the lineup, and since then been pretty much a staple, centering the second line, or third line I should say, but he's moved up to the first line even at times during these last few series, and there gets a great chance. Unfortunately not able to put it in the back of the net, but really a guy that's been fantastic, helped create the Redhawks goal as well.
Sullivan, after the faceoff win, skates it into the offensive zone for Miami. Dempsey with space down the left side, throws it in front. Chapani tips it. It pops up in the air and lands right in between Halleck's pads, and he can cover it up. And Sullivan gets tossed, meanwhile, by Harris as he was hunting for a rebound, but none came. And we get a timeout on the ice. Well, this is getting awfully exciting. 6:51 to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Denver, and we are starting to see scoring chances in bunches on both ends. We're back after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .651 remaining second period. It is Denver 2 and Miami 1. Luke West Poley, Jeff Middleton back with you. Redhawks got a couple scoring chances right before the timeout. And Miami playing some much better hockey here in the second period as the Redhawks will have an offensive zone face-off. They've already scored once in the second off a wraparound goal while skating 4-on-4 by Hampus Ryquist. Face-off here taken between Connor Capone and Braden Morrison, and Capone wins it, and Denver will go on a rush up the ice as a result, but a drop pass not clean inside the offensive blue line, and so the 3-on-2 fizzles out. Puck hit off the skate of the official as Miami was trying to wrap it around the backside of the net, and so as a result, the Redhawks will have to battle for it, and it's Denver taking possession as they'll rim it up the near side of the offensive zone. Miami wins it along the wall, though, and Hutchison out across center finds Sullivan with a little bit of a lane down the right side. He's quickly closed off, though, off a nice recovery. That was Garrett Brown on the way back, and Denver will get it back out to neutral ice. Miami changing up the lines as they dump it back in. Seabrian catches the lead pass. He gets hit and spun around out near center ice. Puck was sitting behind him for a moment. Johnny Waldron tried to twist it through center. Lorenz intercepted that and fires it in for the Pioneers. Now the Redhawks give it away, and it's Lorenz stealing it at the left point. He'll walk it down to the corner. Lorenz skating back up top. Finds Buckberger, who tried to sidestep on Waldron, who sent him down to the ice. And now Waldron will take it away, throw it across the ice for Dukovac, and he tried to drive it in, but he fanned on it. And now the puck is jammed up against the far wall. Pile slowly being moved towards the Miami offensive zone, but the puck springs out the back of it, and the Pioneers end up with possession. Players still being untangled in front of the Red Hawk bench as Miami's got possession now in their own zone. Ambrosio skates it through the center of the ice, tried to drag it left. He was bracketed by 3 Pioneers, and the puck is taken away. King skating down the left side, took 2 steps left before he entered the zone, and Lorenz was in a couple steps offside, and we will get a whistle. 5:06 to go, second period. Shots 20-14 in favor of Denver, and they lead it 2-1.
Kind of a weird play in front of the bench there. Dylan Moulton had his stick tied up. He was trying to get, I don't know who it was in front of the Miami bench here, looking on the replay. Believe it was Kieran Sebrian, who just would not let go of Moulton's stick, and obviously it got so bad the linesman had to come in and take the stick from Sebrian and give it to Moulton. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but nonetheless didn't result in anything bad. You know, obviously with forwards playing back, Moulton tied up there.
It was while the play was going on. John Emmons lays a big hit at center ice. That gives the Redhawks possession. Emmons now below the goal line, offensive zone, banks it up near point Ryquist. He'll step and shoot it wide off the boards behind the net. Simonovic pinches down the left side to grab it for Miami and try to shovel it up top for Vitалens. 2 not on the same page though. And he will send it back down the ice where Ryquist will chase it down in the near corner of Miami's defensive zone. Ryquist rims it up the near glass, and it will roll all the way to Denver's defense now as it's threaded through center and chopped off the stick of Jack Devine. 2 Redhawks fall over, but Denver cannot take advantage as Booyum can't enter the zone. Casper Nasson now finds Filion on the near wing. Filion moves the puck to his backhand and will chip it in. And Filion now on it in the far corner, trying to fight through a pin as Kent Anderson's got him up against the wall. Messenberg trying to help now as well, and now Filion pulls the puck free in the corner. He tried to escape to the far side, but he is forced back behind the Denver net by Anderson. Pioneers will take the puck and ring it up the near boards, where Michael Quinn will grab it and throw it back to the far corner. Filion twists one in front. It went through the back door. No one was there. Now Quinn risks one on from the right side hash next to the boards, and that is handled with the glove by Halleck, who will hold on with 3:42 to go in the second period. Again, Miami showing a lot more life here in period 2. They still trail it 2-1. Face-off will come from the near side of the ice in the offensive zone.
Just much more disciplined play from Miami, holding the puck just an extra second, trying to create a lane instead of just throwing it through. And they're generating offense because of it. This period has been easily their best of the weekend so far. Still 3:42 left remaining, obviously, but like what I'm seeing so far.
Puck is sent down to the Redhawks end, short of icing, where Hutchison will lob it back out near neutral ice. Shapani fights through some entanglement with Salmonen as the Redhawks dump it in. And out of his net, Halleck takes a long time to make a decision. He'll just throw it up the near wall, and luckily for Denver, Michael Quinn couldn't pull the trigger on a shot. He was trying his best. Denver will move the puck back out to center ice. Miami trying to push it back in, but it was taken away by James Reeder, who will regroup it for Denver defensively. Ashcroft up the near side, surveyed the ice, and decided it was best to chip it in and go change. Dempsey with a hard pass up the near wall that got by the intended target in Ambrosio. That allows Denver to take it at neutral ice, and Sebrian tried to dump it in, but the puck just rolled up on him and fluttered over the glass, and so we will have a stoppage with 2:48 to go in the second period. Still 2-1 Denver. We've had a lot of center ice draws tonight. We'll have another one right now.
Couple out of the media timeouts. Yep. Of course, the regular ones to start the periods. Loving that center M tonight.
Yes.
As they should.
Pretty well scratched up.
Yeah.
Denver wins the face-off, and Sebrian will tap it softly down the near wall and into the offensive zone for the Pioneers. Forechecking, Sebrian wins possession, throws it up top looking for Lorenz, who was crashing down, but it got by him. Ends up at the point for the Pioneers, and to the near side it goes for Buckberger. Buckberger walks to the far point now, tried to spin that away from Waldron, but he was forced outside the blue line. And so Denver will have to dump it back in and go tag up. Emmons, meanwhile, feeds it through the middle for Ambrosio. He entered the offensive zone and got bumped off the puck, and it's now chipped back down Miami's way. Moulton spins his way up the ice Now we'll turn back and guide it behind his cage for Dempsey. Up the near wall, Johnny Waldron threw it towards the middle. That got knocked down by the Pioneers. Nobody can locate the puck. Now finally it is King in the left circle. Couldn't get a shot away as Ambrosio was hounding him. And the RedHawks end up with possession as Dukovac will chop it out to neutral ice. 100 seconds left, second period. Denver back into the offensive zone. Devine leaves it for Thompson down the left wing. Fakes, shimmies around the net. Closed off by Waldron. He'll go up to the point. To the near side, Bouillon. Has it up top with a one-timer. He scores. Bouillon played catch with Devine, and on the return feed, Zeev Bouillon into the lineup tonight. Nets his 7th goal of the season off the one-timer, and Denver's back out to a 2-goal lead with 1:27 to go in the second period. It's 3-1.
And there he is. Zeev Bouillon controlling the puck really, really well, keeping the puck on his stick, holding for just a moment. Like you said, Luke, playing catch with Jack Devine. Devine going to add another assist to his already impressive weekend, and that was just exactly what Bouillon wanted. Right in the slot, nobody's on him. A great one-timer, perfectly located on the glove side of Ethan Dahlmeyer. And if you're Miami, this is another late goal given up in a period where I would argue, have been the better team. But when you're the better team, you got to start putting the puck in the back of the net. That's the next step into getting wins in the win column, especially against NCHC teams, is converting on the chances you're given, no matter how few or how many.
Certainly. RedHawks did get the puck in on goal where Hallett covered. So they'll have an offensive zone draw here with 1:19 to go in the second period. 3-1 Denver off the goal by Bouillon. Assist to Devine and Kent Anderson. Face-off win by the Pioneers, but they cannot clear. Puck rolls along the dasher on the far side, and Nasson will settle it on the half wall. He is pinched off by Reeder. Puck now in the far corner of Miami's offensive zone, and a takeaway quickly out in front. 2 whacks at it for Nasson. Halleck will cover up. And more pushing and shoving after the whistle that again gets broken up, and whistle blows with 1 minute left in the second period. It is 3-1 Denver. Time of the goal, 18:33. Bouillon from Devine and Kent.
Another chance for the RedHawks right in front of the net. But not really able to lift the puck at all was Casper Nasson in front. You got to be kicking yourself if you're the RedHawks. And giving up that goal and then going back and getting another chance and just not able to put it in the back of the net. You also got to know as well, if you keep pushing, you're going to get more. Those chances are going to go in, but you got to keep it up for another period, another 20 minutes.
Face-off win for the RedHawks. Morrison with a backhand shot, and that trickles wide. Bodies flying everywhere in front. There's a stick laying on the ground. Belongs to a Pioneer in front. Hutchison working to the far side. Throws one from a sharp angle and scores. A little bit Patrick Kane-esque.
Yes,
I think you and I, Jeff, along with Hutchison, were the only people in the arena that knew that puck went in. Threw it from a sharp angle between the legs of Freddie Halleck, and the puck just got lodged in between the padding on the bottom of the net and the post, and nobody saw it. Delayed reaction from the crowd, delayed reaction from the officials, and everybody on the ice, other than Connor Hutchison, who scores it with 41.7 seconds left to go. And it's 3-2 Pioneers now as it's back to a 1-goal game.
Yeah, like you said, Luke, we were the only two that recognized it, not even the referee. I'm not sure which one was on the goal line there, but he was not looking to see if the puck went in the net, and not sure what we're checking here. I wonder if it's a time check or if they're making sure that it went in the net. It certainly did go in the net, though. That's not really a question. But yeah, like you said, Patrick Kane-esque. Hutchison goes down the far side, throws it from the goal line, I should say. And Halleck was not ready for it, kind of off his angle, and a great shot by Connor Hutchison. Again, just getting pucks to the net, creating things in the offensive zone. Good things are going to happen.
So Hutchison, the transfer from Sacred Heart, has his 2nd goal as a Miami RedHawk, and it's 3-2. Give the assist to Moulton and Nessenberg at 19-19. Denver, though, back to the attack, trying to get that goal back before the end of the period. 27 seconds to go in it. Thompson gets his stick lifted. A drive now from the center point by Polkamp, and that got stood up by Shapani, who's now hounding away on Polkamp as he retreats back to grab the puck. Emmons spins it forward. Vitalins will lift it in with 12 seconds to go in the period. Polkamp leaves it behind him for Buckberger, who will just take out the wedge and lob it up the ice with 3 seconds to go in the period. Shapani and Thompson will fight for it briefly, but not enough time left in the period, and the horn will sound as both teams making sure that they're properly separated as they head to the locker rooms. And that will bring us to the end of period number 2. Well, it felt like a backbreaker when Miami gave up that Zeev Buium goal, but the RedHawks respond. Just under a minute later, Miami gets the sharp angle shot from Connor Hutchison, and finally, it feels like a lucky bounce goes the RedHawks' way. They had a goal called off earlier today as the whistle was blown for a puck that was frozen, and Miami kind of gets one back with a lucky break of their own off a sharp angle shot. Anthony Noreen, meanwhile, he was in the ear of the officials last period after that goal that got called off. He came out, the first thing he did, he came out early actually before his team did at the start of that second period, was discuss with the officials, and he stayed late this time to discuss with the officials as well. So he has really been all over them tonight. But regardless, it is still a one-goal hockey game headed into the third, and like you said, probably the best period Miami has played, for sure the best period Miami has played all weekend, I should say. Probably the best period they've played since that third against Colorado College on Saturday last weekend. But just like to see the fight in this Miami team. You know, some of these weekends we have seen them allow goals, and that really turns into a tidal wave the other way, and had a couple of good shifts after the goal, and even at times when we've seen that this year, you respond after a goal with a couple good shifts. That hasn't necessarily materialized into offense, and tonight it did. Yeah,
100%, and I think last night we saw that as well. Was, you know, Miami comes and scores a goal, and then, you know, you think maybe there's something happening, and then Denver comes back right away and scores. But we get, you know, a really good period of offense here. They were doing every little thing right. There wasn't a time, there weren't very many turnovers. There were a couple that were not, you know, that you can't have them happen consistently, but that's going to happen throughout a hockey game. And then all of a sudden you get some offensive zone time, you get comfortable with the puck on your stick, you're finding guys around the zone, you're just holding for an extra second, creating those lanes. And we saw exactly why Miami puts 2 up in that period. 2 from defensemen as well, no forwards yet to score a goal tonight. Last night was Colby Ambrosio, but not very often you see 2 defensemen with only, you know, 4 goals between them both now. That's a little odd, but you'll take it if you're Miami and you're only down a goal heading into that third period against the number 6 team in the country. You will take that any day of the week. You
absolutely will. The goal by Connor Hutchison, his second of the season, got Miami back within 1. Zeev Buium scored right before that, his 7th of the year, put Denver up a couple of goals, but the RedHawks had an answer tonight, and they win the second period and will have a chance to tie it potentially going into the third. After 2 periods from Cady Arena, it's Denver 3 and Miami 2. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Luke Lewis has your Red Hawk Radio intermission on the other side. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
All right, folks, welcome to the second intermission report here on Red Hawk Radio. Man, was that an exciting second period as the RedHawks draw within 1 versus the Denver Pioneers. 3-2 headed into the third. Denver out shooting Miami 21-17. But 8-8 in shots in the second period. Miami definitely came out with a lot more intensity than the first period. We saw more physicality as well, a lot of pushing and shoving in front of the net. Period started with a Riga Lorenz amazing chance in the slot, resulting from a turnover from Johnny Waldron. He rung that off the post, couldn't get that one past Dahlmeyer. So mistake avoided by the RedHawks. I mentioned a lot of pushing and shoving, more from Zeev Buyum in front of the net. Seems to be a bit heated. Both teams getting guys out of their own creases. Officials letting them play on. But on the Miami side of things, a lot more things to be happy with in that period. I'm sure Anthony Noreen stressed it in the first intermission, getting shots through, creating chances, and we saw that pay dividends for the RedHawks. Ryan Sullivan started off with a great chance in front of the net. However, Halleck had a great stop on that one. And then we saw Connor Hutchinson with a great chance. But Dukovac and Capone, that's Connor Capone for the Pioneers, were tangled up in front. It was kind of a weird play. They called the whistle as Hutchinson was coming in, and both guys go to the box, which resulted in a little 4-on-4. Dahlmeyer definitely looking more solid in that second period. Probably his best period so far of the weekend. Just flashing the leather left and right, looking really good. But on the Denver side of things, man, I talked about it in the pregame yesterday, during the game, and the pregame today. That top line led by Jack Devine, just unstoppable in the O zone, using their body, just puck possession at its finest. So nonetheless, it was 2-2. It was 2-0 going into Hampus Reichwist's goal, his second of the year from Vitalins and Waldron. Great give and go, great play by Waldron to set up the play. Hampus Reichwist kind of had a one-on-one with the goalie, outweighted him, and wrapped it around to put Miami on the board, their first goal of the game. And I mean, great crowd here tonight in Steve Cady Arena. Really got them on their feet. You can see Miami was so energized after that goal, just laying the body, playing with passion. You love to see it out of that Red Hawk bench. Then, I mean, we talked about him at exhaustion already this game, but Zeev Buyum with his 7th of the year, his 34th point from Jack Devine, his 44th point of the year. A good give and go there, and Zeev Buyum with that wicked one-timer, top shelf. Dahlmeyer couldn't catch up to it. We just see the talent out of number 28 with his excellent stick work and edge work. But man, what a rifle to put the Pioneers up 3-1 in the period. But the RedHawks came storming back. Connor Hutchinson, his second of the year from Dylan Moulton and Blake Messenberg. Kind of a weird play. Off of a blocked shot, the Denver Pioneer guy kind of lost his stick, and Hutchinson decided to go around the boards and fire one basically from the corner. And it seemed like he was the only one on the ice and in the stadium that knew it went in, as he celebrated before the official even put his hand out. So great job by the defenseman transfer from Sacred Heart, making this a one-score game. In Miami, maybe their best chance of the weekend, just down one goal, headed into the third period. Definitely have a chance in this one. Just a lot to be happy with in that second period. The RedHawks played with a ton of passion. Miami had one power play in the period. It was the only penalty. It was a tripping by goalie Freddie Halleck. Kind of a weird play. He tripped Vitalins. And goalies can commit penalties too, folks. But not a great power play for Miami, as we've kind of seen a common theme this weekend. They couldn't even get a shot on goal, but great play at the end of it. 2-on-1 for Denver and Raymond's Vitalins. Amazing back check, diving out, getting his stick on the puck to avoid a breakaway from Lorenz. Keeps the Pioneers off the board. 3-2 here in Oxford. Let's check around the league in terms of scores. In the NCHC, St. Cloud State has stormed back from last night's defeat to take a 2-0 lead over Colorado College into the first period. Arizona State continuing where they left off with a 1-0 lead over Western Michigan after one. In the Hockey East, as I mentioned in the pregame, Boston, kind of a shocking 5-1 loss to Northeastern last night. Coming right back today, up 1-0 after 1. UMass Lowell has taken the 2-1 lead in Providence on the road. That is going to be a tough matchup for them. And lastly, in the Big Ten, Ohio State and Minnesota. Minnesota in the third period with about 12 minutes left, holding a narrow 3-2 lead over the Buckeyes. We'll see how that one turns out. And more of the same in East Lansing. Penn State holding that 3-0 victory over the Spartans. Just a gutsy performance out of the Nittany Lions in East Lansing. Anyway, we got about 5 minutes and 40 seconds left until the third period. Should be a fun one. We're going to step out real quick. When we come back, we'll tell you some keys for the third period. If Miami wants to break this 21-game losing streak and pick up their first conference win in the NCHC. All right, folks, just about 4 minutes out of the third period here in Oxford. Just a 1-goal deficit the RedHawks face. It's going to be an exciting one as we see a great crowd here. The students came out to play today. Hopefully Miami can take this one from the Pioneers. Now let's take a peek at the NHL tonight. Back in action for the first time in about a week after the break. Been an exciting night as the Blackhawks take on the Blue Jackets, and the Blue Jackets hold the 1-goal lead. Just an unbelievable story out of Columbus. The season they're having in a playoff spot currently with the tragic passing of Johnny Hockey and his brother. Just the hockey community has been amazing, rallying around Johnny and his family. And we all mourn the loss of a legend and a great person. So it's really good to see the Columbus Blue Jackets having a great season, playing for him. As we saw the United States of America and the Four Nations having his jersey hung up in the locker room. Just amazing stuff. We see Guy Goudreau out at all these NHL practices, just keeping his memory alive. We also are seeing some of the players that didn't make the United States of America Four Nations team, like Tage Thompson and Cole Caulfield, both getting on the board tonight. Maybe trying to make a statement saying, maybe we deserve to be on that team. Tage Thompson with 2 goals tonight and Caulfield with 1. Definitely interesting the way they put together that team, but as we saw, each game was gritty. You needed physicality. So, too many good players to choose from. Understandable. All right, we got about 2 minutes until puck drop here. Let's see what Miami needs to do to win this game here at home. First off, they got to start the period off strong. Keep testing the goalie Halleck. Got to limit Denver's top line and continue to stay out of the box. They've done a good job doing that. But man, they got to come out firing here, get the crowd into it early, try to get their first win in 21 games. Luke West Poley, Jeff Middleton will be back on the call. I'll be back here on Red Hawk Radio on the post game. But in just a minute, Pioneers RedHawks here in Oxford, Ohio.
All ready for period number 3 here from Cady Arena. Last regulation period of the weekend. Luke West, Poley, Jeff Middleton with you as Miami trails Denver 3-2 headed to the third, but the RedHawks outscore the Pioneers 2-1 in the middle period. They had an answer late, scoring in the final minute after Zeev Buyam's goal with under a minute 30 to go. And this RedHawks team, again, has put themselves in position. They have not been able to finish one of these games all year, however.
Yeah, and they, again, yeah, like you said it, they put themselves in the right position, and now it's about executing. It's about doing what you did in that second period. It's about continuing the good trends that you had and limiting your mistakes. You know, they need to stay out of the box, first and foremost. You cannot take a penalty in this period, and if you do, you need to have the best penalty kill you've had of the weekend, because we know that this Denver team can score in a moment's notice. With the snap of a finger, Denver can go up 4-2, but Miami outworked them, I would say, in the second period. Of course, they're always going to get their chances because they're just a skilled team, and they're number 6 in the country for a reason. But this RedHawks team, they put in the work that second period, and they got rewarded for it twice on the scoreboard. Second one was a little bit fluky, but it still counts no matter what. Now looking to continue what they did in the second and maybe even better on it. I'm sure there's still things that head coach Anthony Noreen and his coaching staff talked to the boys about during the intermission, but now that we're back underway, we'll see if they can execute on.
So off we go in the third period. Miami in the white uniforms goes right to left. Denver in the red uniforms going left to right. RedHawks controlled off the faceoff and dumped it into the offensive zone. Pioneers quickly got it back, though, the RedHawks way. Now Miami back into the offensive zone. The Morrison with a drag and shoot from the high slot. Hit off the skate there of Kent Anderson and ended up wide. Back on the near wall, Simonovics pinches in to push it further for Fillion. Back for Simonovics on the wall. He will throw it back behind the net. Twisted up the far wall. Ambrosio will feed it back down for Waldron. Banging around the near boards, it comes to Simonovics on the point. He'll backhand shovel one that sets up in the high slot for a second. And Emmons could not cradle it, and King will skate it out to center ice. But the RedHawks are right back into the offensive zone here. And Emmons will take it and wrap the puck around to the far side. Riga Lorenz does tip it past Ryquist, and now a break up the ice for Wright. RedHawks have 2 men back, and Simonovics will pinch him up against the end boards. Wright tries to throw one out in front, but that's intercepted by Ambrosio. Mini 3-on-2 for Miami, but Denver with the fresher bodies gets the back check through, and Miami will just chip and change. Polkamp along the near wall lifts one off the end glass as the RedHawks will chase it down in their own end. Miami outlets by way of Max Dukovac down the near side. Dukovac steps in, made a move on the blue line, Nassen a step ahead, and it is offside. A minute 31 gone by, third period, still 3-2. Denver neutralized draw coming up on the near side.
And like they did in the second, would love to see the RedHawks establish something early. Maybe not even get on the board early, but really establish some offensive zone time. Get a couple chances, get comfortable with the puck, and get comfortable with your line mates and kind of feel out that chemistry.
Dukovac and Reeder are battling behind linesman Eric Frank on the near boards, and so Brian Gorkoff will blow the face-off dead and make them set back up and redo it. Pioneers win the draw, and it is skated diagonally across the red line by Buckberger, who will fire it in. Puck jammed up behind the RedHawk net. Pried free by Max Dukovac. Lane to skate down the left side. Now he'll slide it across for Zane Dempsey. Dempsey gains the red. Passes it into the offensive zone. Miami forechecks, wins possession. Dempsey on the left point, throws one shot on. That gets smothered right in front of him by James Reeder. RedHawks still with it as Vitalin's tucked one on from a sharp angle. And a pretty unassuming looking puck there that Vitalin's just quickly handled and chopped in front. And kind of a partial save there from Halleck as the Pioneers got it back to neutral ice. Miami again will dump in and try to apply some pressure here. But the RedHawks caught in a partial change, and so the Pioneers will outlet it down the ice. Race is won behind the Miami net by Connor Capone. He gets to the puck first. It's quickly reversed to the left point where a wrister by Ashcroft gets tipped up in the air by Morrison, who slid after it and into the protective netting. Whistle with 17:28 to go in the third. Denver with a one-goal lead, and the faceoff will come on the far side.
And it's those plays in the defensive zone that really can give a team momentum, but also prevent scoring chances. Great sliding block from the RedHawks forward. I believe it was Christoph Filion who has done that a time or two this weekend, but nonetheless, those blocks, getting in lanes, preventing pucks from getting to Ethan Dahlmeyer is going to be huge down the stretch here in this third.
RedHawks win the face-off, and John Emmons will chip it into the offensive zone. Ashcroft spins it up the near boards. Emmons, though, pokes it away from him and on net, and that'll force Halleck to cover. And instead, kind of glided in towards the crease, and Ashcroft gave him a little chop across the arm. And so a face-off here in the offensive zone for the RedHawks on our left side of the ice. It's on the near wing. Messenberg, Sullivan, Emmons, the line out there right now for Miami. This is a little bit of a jumbled line for the RedHawks as Emmons, typically a center, is put down in the spot normally reserved for Max Dukovac. Face-off, plugged up right on the dot for a moment and then cleared partway, and then with a second try all the way out by the Pioneers. Capone now will take a loose puck and just slap it in on net from center ice. That's blockered aside by Ethan Dahlmeyer. Behind the net it goes for the RedHawks and Simonovics up the near wall. Fisher will grab it and dump it in. There was a big collision that got the crowd into things a little bit. Did not affect play much. Simonovics throws it up the far side. He was looking for a pass, skipped over the stick, it looked like, of Ambrosio, but Halleck comes out of his net, and that'll waive the icing. Pioneers get it up through center. Dukovac is on the ice right now for Miami, so it's not a question of health, him not playing with that fourth line, but he's up top now with Colby Ambrosio and Johnny Waldron. Through the middle of the ice, a bouncing puck skips over the stick of Thompson, but now Denver with a steal. Devine in one-on-one, throws one through, save made, rebound comes out, and Dahlmeyer will push out of his crease to jump on top of it.
Big save there from Ethan Dahlmeyer, and you know, like we've said throughout this weekend and through this game especially, Jack Devine kind of jumps out of nowhere in the neutral zone, ends up in a one-on-one, gets a good shot on net. Big save by the freshman netminder for the RedHawks. You see Devine on the replay trying to change that angle as well, get Dahlmeyer to maybe move one way or the other, but he didn't bite.
So a face-off on the far side of Denver's offensive zone. 16-12 to go, third period. 3-2, the Pioneers lead. Drop the puck and a face-off win by Miami. Denver, meanwhile, has dominated face-offs lately, and they now have the advantage 28-23 in the circle. RedHawks will lift it out to center. And now regrouping through. A tipped puck up the near side by Nasson heads into the Denver zone. Pioneers clear as Vitalin sends his man down to the ice. David Carl is furious that there was not a penalty on Vitalins for potentially boarding as he dumped over right. In kind of that awkward area a few feet out from the boards, but no penalty comes and we play on. Chapani knocks it off the far glass out to center. Denver quickly reversing ice to the near wing. Polkamp shoves it into the offensive zone for the Pioneers. Now Lorenz with a steal in the far corner. Threw it towards the front. Pass intercepted by Casper Nasson. And Miami will slowly chip it forward and get position up the ice as the RedHawks go for change. Blake Messenberg in a one-on-two with some forecheck throws a big hit. Puck comes up to the near point where Hutchison couldn't hold the zone but does keep it away from Reeder for a potential odd man opportunity. And now Sullivan will pull it back for Miami. Hutchison up the near side of the ice. Throws it forward for Morrison. He tipped it, hoping to get it into the zone, and instead rolled up on the dasher, and that was when it was hit with the hand by Buckberger, and Denver will touch up for a hand pass. 2 minutes past the 5-minute mark. 2 seconds past the 5-minute mark, I should say. 14:58 to go in the third. It is 3-2 Denver. Where will the face-off be? It will be a neutral zone draw on the near side of the ice on Miami's offensive side of the red line.
David Carl is hot right now. He's been yelling at Andy Thackerberry on the way up the ice and then on the way back and then back on the way to the offensive zone. He has been screaming. At one point standing on the bench behind his players, pleading his case about what he believes should have been a penalty. Kind of an awkward hit.
Yeah.
Not sure. I mean, it's like you said, it was a little bit in a dangerous spot, but not sure that, I believe it was Jared Wright. Not sure he had really all of his balance either, so that doesn't help anything. Probably why there was no call.
Yeah, RedHawks will ice it after a missed pass off the faceoff. David Carl is, I think, pretty famously very level-headed.
Yes.
So pretty rare to see him get that animated.
It's understandable as well.
Yeah.
You know, whether we think it's a penalty or not doesn't matter. Whether David Carl thinks it's a penalty or not doesn't matter. The referees didn't call it, and obviously Carl wants to protect his players as best as he can.
Face-off win looked like kind of by the Pioneers, but tipped back out to neutral ice by the RedHawks. Dumped back in by Denver, and Miami will look to outlet. Simonovic swerved in front of his own net, and it was poked away from him and nearly on net by Devine. Instead, it's below the goal line. RedHawks pull it out and bank it up the near wall. Ambrosio with some space, steps into the zone, rips a shot that gets stood up by Brown. It blocks it 5 feet from its initial release point. Back to center. Fillion couldn't handle the pass as he crossed the offensive blue line, and Denver will take it away. Devine up the near side. Bounces across, corner dump to the far part of the zone. Thompson with a sharp angle drive as that goes laterally across the net. Puck ends up on the far side where Christoph Fillion's on it for Miami. Cross ice pass initially got by Shapani, but he catches it off the bank and will dump it in. 2 forecheckers there for Miami. They got the puck free, but it gets by them both, and Devine now has it out at center. Denver's got some tired bodies out there, though, so Devine will just shoot it in on goal from outside the blue line and go change. Up the ice goes Miami. Vitalins floats it off the glass and in. Morrison forechecking for the RedHawks. He's the only man in the zone. Other 4 guys are either back or changing for the RedHawks. And so that allows Denver to easily get it up the ice and tip it into the offensive zone. Right in the far corner. Has it stolen away by Sullivan. Behind the Miami net for Dylan Moulton. Pushing it up the far boards. Booyam leaves it behind him for Seabrian. To the near circle. Polkamp with a lane. Fires, and a save with the mask, it appeared, by Dahlmeyer. And now the RedHawks can skate it out as Morrison headmans up the right wing, and he will chip it in. Sullivan racing after it. Booyam will throw it up the wall, and now a shot from the right point. Hit off the stick there of a Pioneer in front and trickled just wide. RedHawks still with it. Quinn down the right side will wrist one on. Pad save made by Halleck. As Miami's got Denver pinned back a little bit here, but now the pressure alleviates and the Pioneers can golf this one all the way up the ice. It'll end up just inside Miami's blue line where Michael Quinn plays it forward for the RedHawks. And through center, Dukovac chasing a loose puck, accidentally lifted it up into the Denver bench, and that will bring a whistle. 12:27 remaining, third period. We got a good one between the RedHawks and the Pioneers. It is 3-2 Denver here from Cady Arena in Oxford. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. 12:27 to go. They're jumping it around here from Oxford. It's Denver 3 and Miami 2. Neutral zone face-off on the far side of the ice. And both guys false start, it appears. Emmons gets the boot. Seen a lot of guys kick out of draws this weekend. Face-offs procedurally as a whole have been a bit of a nightmare, I think, for everybody involved this weekend. RedHawks, though, do win the face-off, and Nasson skates it partway into the zone before sending it in deep. To the near corner it goes. RedHawks with it. Simonovic drags, waits, now spins away. Simonovic skating to the far side, muscling his way into the corner. Threw it in front with the backhand. Nobody there for the RedHawks. Now Ryquist threw one in the direction of the net that ended up wide as Casper Nasson got knocked over next to the net. John Emmons gloved that one down and prevented the Pioneers from clearing, but now the rest of his RedHawks are changing, so he'll head in solo on the forecheck as he dumps it in deep, and it will just be easily skated out by Sam Harris. Entering the offensive zone, Harris loses it. Emmons now throws it into space. Shapani has it on the center end, heads right, gets into the offensive zone from the half wall. Threw it towards the front of the net, but it's tipped up high and ends up along the dasher on the near boards. Puck was jammed along the near wall next to the Miami offensive blue line. Pioneers grab it though and will skate it ahead and chip and change. 11:20 to go, third period. Denver by 1. RedHawks tried to throw it quickly up the far side, looking for a tip by Shapani, and Quinn missed him. It'll go down for icing. With 11:16 remaining in the third, and the face-off will be taken from the left side, it appears, for the Pioneers. Final period of the weekend in regulation. I'm hoping they can force overtime like they did last weekend on Saturday. RedHawks will be on the road at Duluth next weekend at Amsoil Arena before closing out their regular season here at home against a Western Michigan team that's having their probably toughest weekend of the year. They lost last night to Arizona State and were losing headed into the second period at Mullet Arena tonight. Denver off the face-off, lost the zone and came back in offside, and so we'll have a draw from the far wing coming up now.
And that Arizona State team saw them in the last home series. Boy,
Western
are they
Michigan
talented.
has since equalized.
Okay, there we go. No, Western Michigan, neither of those teams are anything to scoff at. Arizona State came into Oxford and they dominated. They were phenomenal that weekend, and obviously Western Michigan, the last time that Miami met Western Michigan was at WMU, and they gave up 8 goals in the first game and then shut out the second. So that's a talented team looking for a national championship this year.
Yeah, RedHawks get it ahead and into the offensive zone. Denver will now take it up the near side and dump it back in. Yeah, perhaps equally talented, those Arizona State and Western Michigan teams, but extremely different styles of play. Arizona State's more of that kind of new school skate and finesse type of team. Western Michigan is very heavy, very big, as they typically are.
Well.
Yeah, they've got great goaltending. Pat Ferschweiler has done a really good job since the retirement of Andy Murray in Kalamazoo. Sharp angle shot from the far corner now is saved with the shoulder by Dahlmeyer on Kieran Sabrian. Now Bouillon skates into the right circle. He'll try to backhand shelf one from the right side, and he lifted it high and wide. Denver still with it as it's dragged down the left wall by Polkamp. Dempsey will push him up against the far wall. Both teams fighting for it, and ends up springing free for Bouillon at the center point, dragging and shooting. It ended up wide, ricocheted off the glass back in front, and Morrison got to it for the RedHawks as he will shovel it down. Bouillon knocks it down with the hand, picks it up himself, and will head into the offensive zone, leaves it for Burrows. Now Bouillon again in the right corner. Back up top, Brown. It was nearly poked away by Dukovac for a potential breakaway, but Brown still with it. Circles the net. Brown to the far corner. Back up top, Bouillon. One-timer save made by Dahlmeyer. Rebound comes out. They score. Well, Dahlmeyer made the initial save kind of at the point where his gloves and pads meet. And then the puck really wasn't even shot on as much as it kind of just popped up in the air. And much like Miami's goal yesterday, it just went up and over the top of Ethan Dahlmeyer. It was Fisher, it appears, that got the last touch. And Denver has made it 4-2 with 9.5 to go. Anthony Noreen looks like he might challenge this, as Miami Assistant coach Zach Sizik has currently got his finger on his ear, which is a telltale sign that they're looking at it upstairs. And RedHawks will not challenge.
Yeah. The second goal of the weekend for Jake Fisher. Had a goal yesterday. Really showing off his talent against these RedHawks. But man, that's just a really unlucky break for Miami. You have a great second that could have resulted in, you know, a 3-3 game or even a 4-3 game in favor of the RedHawks, but you're not able to put in the chances, and then Denver comes right back in the middle of this third period with probably their best shift in at least one period. Lots of offensive zone possession time. Great shot from Zeev Buium to create the chaos in front. And Fisher puts it in the net.
So Fisher with his 7th goal of the season. Assist to Buium and Brown at 10:30 of the third period. And it is Denver 4 and Miami 2 now, as the RedHawks will have to climb out of a 2-goal hole once again. Ambrosio in a 1-on-2 will chip and thread between the two Pioneer defensemen to try and get after it. He is now delaying with the puck against the end wall for enough time that Morrison can come off the bench and get in on the forecheck. Miami wins possession of the puck. It bounced, looked like near that right post dangerously for a second, but Denver guided it back in behind. And now the Pioneers get it to center, where King will grab it and throw it in. Denver going for changes, 8:32 to go. RedHawks answered pretty quickly to the third Pioneer goal. Do they have an answer here for the fourth? With Miami in the offensive zone, Messenberg tried to push the puck into a pile. It bounced behind him, and that allowed Salmonen to get it up the near wall and into the Miami zone. Puck on the far side into the corner. Sullivan will pick it up for Miami, kicks it to his skate, rounds the net. Poked away from him, though, by James Reeder, who lost his stick in the process. That'll allow the RedHawks to keep it. Messenberg down the right wing, pulls it back for Miami. Hutchison in front of the RedHawk bench with some room to skate. Both teams going for changes. Walks his way in, and his shot got blocked by Wright. Ricochets back out into the neutral zone, where Dempsey backs it into the Miami end. Dempsey looking over his left shoulder. He'll feed Hutchison now in the near corner of Miami's defensive zone. Sauces it high in the air out past center ice. Now Vitalins enters the zone on the right wing. Vitalins hits the brakes. Puck poked away from him. Ends up below the goal line. Denver will work it up the far side of the ice. Rieger Lorenz takes a full 360 turn. Now continues to skate it up the left wing. He gets his pocket pick, though, as he crosses the blue line from behind by Raymond's Vitalins. And Casper Nassin will take the feed and dump it in once more. 7:09 to go, third period. And the Pioneers lead it by 2. Into the offensive zone. Chapani had not vacated yet for Miami, as he was a straggler from the previous forecheck. Miami is offside. And we get a stoppage with 7:02 left in the third.
And we see in this third period, feels a lot more like the first. Miami not really able to generate much in the offensive zone. Not nearly as much as they did last period. Obviously, still 7 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in this regulation period, but not really much happening for the RedHawks offensively right now. There's still plenty of time to change that, but still waiting for it to kind of come out of the woodwork. Or I guess I should say come back out of the woodwork.
RedHawks had a push in that second period. They scored 2 goals. But Denver remained in front throughout. And the Pioneers have added an insurance goal here in the third. Into the offensive zone, Capone bumped, throws one from a tough angle on from the right wing. It's sticked aside by Dahlmeyer. Now Waldron up ahead for Ambrosio, backhanding it into the near corner of the offensive zone. Up the wall, Denver cannot clear. Emmons has the puck taken away, and now the Pioneers will try to get out and go. A good job by Simonovic to intercept the pass up ahead, and the RedHawks head forward. Johnny Waldron gets a stick lifted, puck stolen by Jack Devine. He circles the Pioneer net and gives to the far side for Brown. Devine with it back now down the left wing. He is tugged down, no call, and the RedHawks will move it up the near wall now as Messenberg shoves it in. 6:05 to go in the third. Hit off the far glass. Miami will regather it at the neutral zone. Messenberg can't thread it through the middle of the ice. Looking for one of his teammates breaking into the zone. Miami will have to settle for another dump in. King has it poked off his stick next to the M by Matt Schipani. Now the puck takes a bad ricochet off the glass. Schipani can't finish it in front.
Wow.
And another tuck-in attempt by Vitalins popped up in the air and over top of the goal. Simonovics now leaves it for Fillion, dragging and shooting. That one goes wide. Schipani in the far corner. Up top, Simonovics tries to thread between two Pioneer defensemen. Puck is chipped off his stick, but Schipani is there to recover it. Simonovics across the way for Moulton. Moulton spins. Moulton tried to throw one in front. That got blocked. Moulton takes a tumble, and now a 2-on-1 the other way for the Pioneers. Thompson finds Devine near side, fires, and a save made with the left pad by Dahlmeyer. Thompson still on it, and he will now backhand shovel it in. 5 minutes to go in the third. Denver still leading by 2. Puck just escapes the zone, and now a 2-on-2 battle won by the Pioneers just outside of their offensive zone. They'll throw it back to their own defense, but it got by Polkamp. He'll have to go get it behind his own net. Pass up the near wall, touches the stick of Harris and ends up going the full 200. Behind Miami's net now it's Hutchison, pushing to the far side for Quinn. Up ahead, Johnny Waldron delays for a moment and finds Ambrosio. Tearing down the left wing, Ambrosio tries to muscle his way, throws one in front, looking for Waldron down the center, but it was cut off before it reached him and guided to the near wall by the Pioneers. Clearing attempt gets by Emmons, who is filling back for Hutchison on the left point. Miami will regroup. Hutchison finds Emmons on the far side, who will backhand twirl it in. Emmons will go in on the forecheck. Halleck miss handling the puck out behind the net. Fortunately for Denver, nobody's there for the RedHawks to go after it. Pioneers, though, will just make a safe play and torch the puck down the ice for icing. With an even 4 minutes left on the clock in the third, Denver continues to lead at 4-2. Shots lead 29-22 in favor of the Pioneers. And the faceoff will come from the near side.
Yeah, the RedHawks have certainly settled in here. They look a lot more comfortable. Obviously, it might be too little too late after giving up a goal to go down 2, but nonetheless, still not a bad period of hockey. I don't think the RedHawks have really played a bad period of hockey tonight, which, you know, against a team like Denver, that can be hard to do because Denver can possess the puck for a long time. Saw that early in the first, but even late in the first, felt like the RedHawks got their feet under them a little bit and then carried that into the second. But, you know, if you're not winning on the scoreboard, it doesn't really matter.
Dukovac skates it into the offensive zone for Miami, heads down the right side. Will keep an eye on Ethan Dahlmeyer in the RedHawk net. Morrison behind the net. Sends his man down to the ice in the puck battle, and now it's up to the left point for Hutchison. Hutchison wrists one through. That's deflected wide. Nasson going after it in the far corner. It's tapped by him, but Michael Quinn's got it on the half wall. Tried to force one in front. That one got knocked down before it reached Matt Schipani, and back on the far wall again. Denver could not initially clear, but Wright will poke it out. Starting to see Dahlmeyer make his way out of the net as Miami brings it back in with 3:13 to go. Hutchison gets spun around. Anthony Noreen's got his stop sign hand out to Dahlmeyer right now. Turnover in the high slot. Waldron waits and can't get a shot away. There goes Dahlmeyer as the RedHawks are still with it. Hutchison to the near corner for Waldron. Back behind it, Schipani. Up to the left point, Hutchison. 6-on-5 with 2:53 to go here for the RedHawks, down 2 goals. Ambrosio from the right point. To the corner for Schipani. Tried to chip one in front. It is gloved down, and Denver can clear. As Brown got that to his stick and found King, who could push it the rest of the way out. 2:36 to go in the third period. Miami trying to get it through the neutral zone. Puck is sent around the boards by Matt Schipani. Johnny Waldron now will dance away from King. Finds his man across, and a shot from the backside by Vitalins.
Wow.
Save made by Halleck. RedHawks do hold the zone, but now give it right to Jack Devine, who threads one forward for Thompson. Shooting at the empty net, he scores, and Denver will seal the sweep here on Saturday night.
What a sequence of events there. Fantastic play by Johnny Waldron on this near side. Avoids the check, puts the puck into space, finds Vitalins on the other side, and he rips it right into the pad. The Denver goaltender, Halleck, and you know, if you're the RedHawks, that's a backbreaker. You know, you miss that chance, and then it immediately goes into your net. On the other end of the play, 2:13 remaining. It's an unfortunate end to a game that, you know, they probably could have, if they put in a couple more goals, looks different right now. Or if, you know, even that one that's called off, if the whistle doesn't go early and the Redhawks tie this game, you never know what can happen. But nonetheless, that wasn't the case here tonight.
So Thompson gets his 17th of the year in the empty net, and the Redhawks are going to lose their 20th straight game to start NCHC play. And in total, Miami will drop their 22nd game in a row, dating back all the way to that November 1st overtime loss against RPI. Redhawks' last win coming on Saturday night against Lindenwood on October 26th. Christoph Filion in the far corner of the offensive zone for Miami. Pushing ahead for Casper Nassen. Puck still kind of lodged in the corner right now as Nassen was going to chase it down, but instead gives way for Michael Quinn. Nassen has it now left point. Dukovac now in that spot, skates it down the left side wall. Gets twisted off the puck by Anderson, and the puck is cleared. Big hit laid on Jake Fisher by Max Dukovac, but Fisher back up to his feet as the Redhawks get it back into the offensive zone. Dukovac carving between 5 Pioneers, finds Shapani, down low Hutchison, back for Shapani in the slot. He got a couple whacks at it with the puck actually on the stick of Garrett Brown, and it wouldn't go. Now Lorenz with a break down the near side, cuts it to the middle, leaves it off, and a shot sent through from the right wing by Seabrian. Got blocked in front, and the Redhawks will clear it down with 30 seconds to go. Up the near wall, Rieger Lorenz steps into the offensive zone right with a try from between the hashes, and that got turned aside by Dahlmeyer. Shapani now will two-hand whack it into the offensive zone with 15 seconds left as the Redhawks go for changes. But Denver is going to get their first win for their first series sweep, I should say, in over a month, as the Pioneers will beat the Redhawks on both nights. Miami played a better game here tonight, but ultimately did not have enough to fend off the defending national champions. And Denver takes 2 of 2 on the weekend to improve to 23-8-1 overall and 12-7-1 in NCHC play. And the Pioneers might be looking at a top 5 ranking coming up on Monday when it's time for the polls to come out once more. Miami will not see this Denver team again unless they meet them in the NCHC tournament, as David Carl and Anthony Noreen exchange some pleasantries in front of the bench with an extended conversation. And this Pioneer team will likely compete for another national title coming up in April. Jeff, we've talked about it. Miami hasn't always executed on it, but the reality is in this league, you can play a good but not a great game, and with the caliber of opponent, you might still lose. That was probably the case tonight, as Miami played one of their better games they've played in a little while. Obviously, they played really well, especially in the third period, coming back from down 3 goals against Colorado College on Saturday night. But in terms of a 60-minute effort, Miami never really fell entirely out of this one until the empty net goal came in. They had the offense when they needed it. They had probably more zone and possession time than they've had in a number of games. And again, in the NCHC, good doesn't always cut it, and it did not cut it tonight.
Yeah, exactly, and it's tough. This is one of many games that we've talked about before. They play well. They have the majority of the game. They play good hockey. They play exactly how they've wanted to play. How the goals that they set, they're achieving. But the problem is that it only takes one little spurt. It takes one odd man rush, and then you're down, and you're just not able to convert on the chances you do get. And from there, it's tough sailing, and it's tough. I mean, it's hard from up here to watch because we watch them. I mean, we watch them more than most people, I would say. And we see the changes from this year to last year. We see kind of how players are developing through the season, which goaltenders are playing well, which goaltenders aren't, and then you come out and you play a really strong game against like you said, a team that's probably going to be in the top 5 of the country by Monday, and you're still just not able to get the results you want. 5-2, again, another result on the scoreboard that doesn't look great, but it certainly doesn't reflect the kind of effort that was put in tonight by the RedHawks.
Certainly not. Denver team that's the defending national champs, preseason #1. Again, it has been an up and down year for the Pioneers, but they've had up and down years before that have turned into national titles. And this year
That's right.
may not be any different. We'll just have to see coming up in about a month's time as the Frozen Four will make its way to St. Louis. As for the RedHawks, they will be on the road next weekend. They will have a twin bill against Minnesota Duluth on Friday and Saturday. Friday start 8:07 p.m. Saturday starts 7:07 p.m. The Friday game will be broadcast nationally on CBS Sports Network, so you can find that one there. Again, 8:07 Eastern, 7:07 local time Central in Duluth, Minnesota at Amsoil Arena. Saturday night on NCHC TV, a 7:07 Eastern start to wrap up the series. Next time Miami is at home is the following weekend. It will be senior weekend for this RedHawks team as they wrap up the regular season against the Western Michigan Broncos, a team that is fighting for a split at the moment, but entered the weekend top 5 in the country in both the pairwise and the polls. So again, March 7th, the next time we'll be on the air for you for hockey. Back to normal start times again, 7:05 both nights. No more craziness like this weekend. We appreciate you bearing with us all weekend long with everything going on with basketball and hockey and such. Next time RedHawk Radio is on the air is on Tuesday. We will have a doubleheader for you first. We will have the home opener for the baseball team in a 3 o'clock Eastern start time against the Wright State Raiders. And then we'll have 6:30 pregame and 7 o'clock coverage for the men's basketball team as they take on Northern Illinois as they wrap up their regular season. RedHawks big victors last night on the hardwood. Hoping to keep things rolling as they will head to Cleveland in a couple of weeks. So we thank you so much for tuning in this weekend and all season long. We'll be with you 2 more times for Miami Hockey this year. For Jeff Middleton, I'm Luke West Poley saying good night from Oxford. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Luke Lewis gets wrapped up on the RedHawk Radio postgame. Again, Denver beats Miami tonight 5-2, and thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami Hockey on RedHawk Radio.
All right, folks, a close one here in Oxford, but the home RedHawks couldn't get it done. Great effort out of the home team tonight, though. Trailing 3-2 going into the third. Couldn't get much going offensively. Denver was able to put one more home and then finish off with the empty netter, winning tonight 5-2. Last night 5-1. Denver outshot Miami 31-23 tonight. But all in all, a much better effort out of the RedHawks tonight against the reigning national champions. In that period, we wanted Miami to come out firing on all cylinders, but it was Denver who looked good right off the jump, saying, we don't want this to be a one-goal game. We'll show you why we're the reigning champions. Jack Devine with a nice chance to open the period, but Dahlmeyer with a good save. Miami, one thing you got to look at after this game was how well they executed their forecheck, really putting pressure on the defenseman, especially Zeev Buyum. That was one thing Anthony Noreen definitely stressed. Getting in on the forecheck, staying out of the box, winning faceoffs. 3 things Miami did well tonight. Just couldn't get it done. Barely slipped out of their fingers, but a great effort. The goal for Denver in the third period came off the stick of Jake Fisher, his second of the weekend and 7th of the year. This was just a result of some great ozone work by Booyam and the rest of the Pioneers team. Just puck possession at its finest, as we've harped on so much this weekend, trying to limit the Pioneers' offensive puck possession. But there's a reason that they're a top 5 team in the country, top 6 team right now. Thank you. And we just saw great work. Zeev Booyam, another shot from the point. He really showed his shot tonight. And a rebound by Jake Fisher, the freshman, with his second of the weekend. And then at the end of the game, down 2 goals, Noreen pulled Dahlmeyer with about 2 minutes left on the clock. And we saw some good chances. Johnny Waldron had some nice plays and found Raymond Vitalins all alone in the slot, but great save by Freddie Halleck, as he did so many times tonight. And just off that chance, it sprung a Aiden Thompson empty net goal from Devine. I talked about it so much this weekend, but their top line, Carter King, Aiden Thompson, Jack Devine, just absolutely stellar for the Pioneers, controlling the game and leading Denver to a sweep here in Oxford. Looking ahead, as my counterpart Luke West Poley mentioned, we are heading to Minnesota Duluth for a 2-game series next weekend before Miami heads back home March 7th and 8th for their final homestand of the year against the 3rd-ranked Western Michigan Broncos. Going to be a tough series here in Oxford. Hopefully the fans can come out, give the boys some spark, and end on a right note in the regular season heading into the NCHC playoffs. A Western Michigan team we may as well see in the NCHC playoffs, as they currently rank the #1 team in the conference. Miami bringing up the rear at 8. But got to be happy with the way the boys played tonight. Kept it close. Could have gone either way, but tough Denver team tonight. That does it here for tonight, but looking around the rest of college hockey, Arizona State holds a 2-1 lead over Western Michigan headed into the 3rd period. St. Cloud State bouncing back mightily with a 4-1 lead over Colorado College on home ice. And North Dakota with a 5-0 lead against Minnesota Duluth. They really are showing what they're made of. Going to be a scary team come playoff time. Penn State had a close one in East Lansing. Michigan State comes back in the 3rd with 2 goals. But the Nittany Lions hold them off for the sweep in Michigan State. Unbelievable win by that program. Another scary team to look out for. Sneaky. Obviously, you have Aiden Fink, who leads college hockey in points. Scary team over there in Pennsylvania. And then Minnesota grabbed the 6-3 victory over Ohio State, taking both games this weekend. Great hockey going on in college. Boston University holds a 1-0 lead going into the 3rd against Northeastern, and Boston College, the #1 team in the country, presumably after the Michigan State sweep, up 2-0 right where they left off against Vermont. That'll do it here in Oxford. Thanks for tuning in to Red Hawk Radio. It was a close game tonight. Hopefully the Red Hawks end the season strong and end at home against a tough Western Michigan team. We hope to see you there. But as for Red Hawk Radio, thanks for tuning in to Luke West Poley and Jeff Middleton tonight. I'm Luke Lewis on the postgame show. Have a good night, folks.